How's everyone doing today? Happy Wednesday. Hey friends, yo, what's up, Matt? Hey Ralphin, hey Hellish, hey Oda-san. Hey Koi, how's it going, guys? How y'all doing? Hope you guys didn't miss me too bad. It's only been like 24 hours, so hopefully not too bad, right? I mean, I totally get it. I'd miss me too that bad, but yeah. Give me like one hot second. Hold on. I wanna figure something out real quick. Yeah, I thought it would double play it. Okay, it's fine. As long as you guys can hear it, I don't care. Welcome in, everybody. But yeah, welcome to History Night. Welcome in. We'll get started with videos here in a minute. We're not gonna talk for too long because we had a yap stream all day yesterday. But still, we'll let people file on in for a minute and then we'll truly get started. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all having a happy Wednesday. Finally halfway through the week, so I'm very happy for you guys. I'm proud of you guys so far. You're doing great. Just 2 more days. I'm totally not saying that to cope for myself as well. How's your day been? Honestly, it was okay. I've had better days, I've had worse days. Finished setting up a new exhibit. That was interesting. I've got one more thing to do, like, early tomorrow morning, and then I have to stay late after work tomorrow for, like, a special ceremony for it. It'll be neat. I'm really excited. But yeah, it's gonna be a little exhausting. I think every day this week I have something after work, including stream stuff. 3 of those are stream things. And then, what was the other one? Oh yeah, and then I got D&D on Saturday, so... yeah, I've got a really packed week. I have practically no free time. But, you know, it's honestly, I like it a little bit that way. If I didn't get to sit here and yap at chat, I mean, what else would I do? Let's be honest. I'd probably be watching, like, old movies or something, if I'm being honest. The music you use is so relaxing. Thank you. It was actually made by one of our moderators named Citrus Cato. Make sure you check him out. But yeah, it's really good. Honestly, I need to add Citrus. I think I want to say I did add him already to the credits thing, but I've been meaning to do that lately. But yeah. But yeah, pretty interesting day, all things considered. I didn't expect my post to blow up on Twitter. If you guys have seen that one, much to my mild embarrassment. Once again, things that I think will get a ton of engagement don't get engagement, and the things that are stupid that I just randomly throw out in the ether, once again, seem to blow up for some reason. So, yeah. Oh, loud, she's streaming. You know it, dude. At least 20 hours, or at least 15 hours a week. It used to be 20. I've considered, like, trying to get into, like, getting back to streaming 20 hours a week, but, like, oh my god, I don't think I can do it. That'd be so rough. Is your voice okay? Yeah, it's fine. I'm pretty sure it is. Does it sound weird? Does it sound weirder than usual? If it does, let me know. Don't burn out. Yeah, we'll be okay. I've noticed that, like, 3 hours don't really have a huge impact on my voice. It's usually, like, how my, my allergies are doing, and then also, like, 4 or 5 hours of use. Hara! Moshi Moshi Bird Dazu! What's up, Howler? How you doing today? I'm doing good, Jordan. How you doing, buddy? So we will be starting with a video, today, where we're only gonna watch the first, like, minute or so. I'm gonna skip around a little bit. And the reason is because I want to use it as an example. Somebody posted it. And frankly, technically, usually this is not something that I would like submitted, or, well, I don't mind if it's submitted, but it usually will not be shown on stream because it is political. However, there are some claims in it. I watched to vet it, and there are just some claims in there that are really popular myths, that I kind of want to dispel, and I kind of want to talk about. So we'll be doing that. It's World War II related. So I know like every fucking like 19-year-old quote unquote history fan in here just fucking screamed and came in their pants. Like, oh my god, I get to talk about Tiger 2s again for the 15 billionth time this week. Yeah, we get to do that, so. Hey, Fushigi. But yeah, so that's how, that's what we're gonna start off with today. And then we'll start getting into the videos that I do want to watch. And not controversially talk about, so. Come out, you weebs and boos. It's World War II myth time. Hell yeah, dude. But the only reason I want to do it is because not only are they a popular creator that I have nothing against, I would like to put that out there first. But also, like, they're popular, and if I'm going to be honest, nothing against them. They don't have the most correct takes, generally. And I would like to display why sometimes, including me, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. Also, I've fucked up many times historically on stream. But I would like to show why you should always do your own independent research using academically backed sources and first-hand accounts instead of just taking like a content creator's word at face value. So it's about William Wallace. As long as it's less than like 13 minutes, go ahead and pop it in the Discord. Would you say they have a niche market they appeal and stick to then? What do you mean, Red? What do you mean by that? I would say it's just like typical pop history. It's another pop history channel. Yo, thank you for the sub, Bengal. Welcome back to the harem. Thank you, thank you. Congrats on 3 months. You're a third of a way to a baby. No, it's all good, Jordan. Haha, funny 38-minute Baker's rifle video, go burr. I'm not watching that. I'm sorry, buddy. This is a 3-hour stream. I could not spend a whole 10th of it. Well, actually, less than that. Because it's 60 times 3 is 180. I cannot spend a 1/6 of that time period watching one video. I think my ratios are right. I was born for history, not math, so. You're perfect, though. We should take everything you say as fact. Based, honestly, based. I'm 5,000 years old, and I could turn your life into a nuclear wasteland. Therefore, you should automatically accept everything I say as factual. Absolutely. Yeah, I knew it was in the ballpark. That's all that matters. What about a YouTube short glazing a World War II pigeon? Already seen it. It's the one that got hit with the rifle round in World War II and kept on flying, the British one. Already watched it last week. I don't know if you submitted it, but we saw it last week. Ironically. Or coincidentally, I don't know. It feels weird trying to figure out what's ironic and coincidental these days. Hey, Squad Bravo. Welcome in. How you doing? So the general audience? Yeah, pretty much. Hey, fandom, welcome in. Uranium Fever. Yeah, pretty big. That song's honestly a banger. I was talking, who was I talking? What were we talking about? Shit. I forget what we were talking about, but, we were talking about, like, what was it? I can't remember now. All I remember is that the meme was that it was Mr. House watching as the lone courier stripped all the copper out of the walls of the Lucky 38, and him being powerless to stop it. That was the end goal of whatever story I was going to tell, because I used that earlier today as a metaphor, and it was very funny. So yeah, very very great situation, metaphorical situation. Yo, okay, I got you. Welcome back, Game Time. Happy to have you back. Hey, Tactical. Hey, Soul. Doing good. How you doing, buddy? But yeah, like I said, we'll get started here in like maybe like 5 minutes. That way we got a lot of time to watch videos and for me to pause them and make a terrible joke and then start them back up. So, hey Irony, how's it going, dude? So I do want to say, we are having some minor stream changes coming about. I want to remind people, I am making like a pretty big push and effort to start moving. I don't want to say away from War Thunder because that's not accurate. Really, I'm just want to start expanding what I do. So, I might pick up an extra night a week, for us to play variety games or just chat or things like that. And it would really mean the world to me if you guys could come and support, non-War Thunder streams. Obviously, come to the War Thunder streams if you want to come to the War Thunder streams. It just seems like everybody comes to that one. So it would really mean a lot to me if you guys could hop on in at 7 p.m. on these weeknights. Because not because I like need the numbers or anything like that, but because that's you guys showing up. It tells me what to do because I want to be entertaining for you guys. I understand weeknights are obviously a little bit harder. So it'll naturally be a little bit lower. But if you've only ever been to like a history stream or you've ever only been to a War Thunder stream especially, please come and hang out with me a little bit more often if you don't mind, especially if it's a game that even if you can't really hang out and watch the full time of, just sit there and lurk for, to show that you want me to keep playing it. So, yeah. Just keep it in mind. The schedule will be below. It probably will be changing soon because I think I am dropping my Pokemon stuff. So, thank you for the follow, Saint Durandal. Welcome to the cult. Hara doing numbers, get the counting machine, actually. 7 Central's the best time. It's right after dinner's been made and most work done, so thanks for that. It's really the only time I can fit it in on weekdays because I gotta eat dinner too. But yeah, I've noticed that, like, that was just kind of the best time, I feel like. That was my goal, and I kind of really think about you guys when I'm thinking about times. So, like, for me, for example, being an ex-gamer, if I have to get up on a weekend, to try and catch something, the earliest I typically want something to start is 2 p.m. my time. Because I'm gonna wake up at, like, 10 or 11, because I'm gonna sleep in, 'cause especially if it's a Sunday. And then typically I want to laze around in bed for an hour and then I got to get up and eat lunch and take a shower. So typically I'm not really ready to rumble and bumble out of the house with my little bird feathers all in order until about 2 p.m. So I was like, man, wouldn't it make a lot of sense if I started streams at 2 p.m. for the same kind of people? Because I feel like my worshipers are a lot like me. Same thing for weeknights, where I was like, well, I usually have all of my chores and daily stuff done and my dinner eaten, or at least made by 7 p.m. So I feel like people might be able to have the time to sit down and eat their dinner, and watch me, their other meal for the night, do stupid things, and hopefully make them laugh so hard they spit their food on a monitor, so that'd be really funny. Or their phone, I'll take that as well, So, yeah, I really do try to keep everything in mind for you guys. It takes a long time to iron out the tail feathers. It's true. It's true. It's the worst when one of them gets a cowlick. Base schedule, laying in bed. I wish, bro. One day we'll have the technology to where, like, I can just, like, do this from my bed and everything will be great. How was your day? It was pretty good. Busy. Finished up an exhibit. Finally changed stuff out. I've got one little thing to do tomorrow morning. We're having a big, like, party tomorrow after work, for the new exhibit. The mayor of the city, is coming to it and stuff like that. And it's gonna be really fancy. So hopefully people show up. Hopefully it's a good time. And I'm really excited about it. It's technically my boss's work and layout. It was the last exhibit before I started working on them, but it still means a lot and it's still really neat because I did input some last minute stuff. So I volunteered at a railroad museum. Oh, that's really neat. Actually, there's a railroad museum in my city that occasionally, I don't work with it, but I visit it pretty often because there's like a lot of overlap. And they've got some pretty cool stuff. They really do. They have these like old like cabooses and like what's the front of a train called? Steam engine? It's the engine, isn't it? It's the engine. And like the engine and stuff, you can like walk into each of the locomotive, thank you. And you can like walk in there and like check them out and stuff like that. Apparently there's like an international train day or something like that coming up, and they're doing a big thing for it. But they've got like an old inside of it, they've got like a really old like electronic system for like what's it called? Morse code? Shit. What's the little click thing called? You know, you hit it with your finger like beep 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 beep. You know what I'm talking about? Uses Morse code. Do you know Heist here on YouTube? Heist. I don't think so. What do they do? A telegraph. Thank you. Yeah, my brain's dumb. Usually after work these days, my brain is so fried I can't think of things. So, but thank you. I just noticed the belly button indent in your sizable thighs. This isn't going anywhere. It's just a nice detail I noticed. You're well, I'll give you a nicer detail, honestly, if you want. Look. Not only does it jiggle, but I, like every natural VTuber in this environment, I have butt fangs to some degree. So, you know what they say, you can't rule for 5,000 years without a little bit of sex appeal, so. The whole doxing being a real issue, so hope whichever museum yours is, hope it gets a big turnout for this. What do you mean? Oh, like the doxing isn't like I can't tell you guys where I work, is that what you mean? Yo, thank you for the follow, PP Daster 32. Welcome in, how you doing? Hello! Welcome in! Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I honestly, it would be, okay, unironically, it would be so fucking sick for you guys to come and check out my exhibits in my museum, but that is just something I cannot allow, I'm afraid. Not only because, like, does my boss already think I'm weird, but also, like, I kind of need my privacy, so. Because, like, if people found out where I worked, it would be very obvious who I am immediately. Like, it's not even close. I bet you would love to go on the Hogwarts train. I don't know about the Hogwarts train specifically, but there are some train tours in like Germany and Switzerland that I've always dreamed of going on. It seems like it'd be really neat. Trying to go to bed because it's 3:18 a.m. Well, that's a bad idea. I'm the sun. I'm practically a mobile nightlight. So not only will I give you glaucoma and skin cancer, but also I will keep you awake. I'm going to stand there over your bed going, are you asleep yet? What about now? I see your eyes are closed, but you're kind of flinching a little bit when I get too close and my breath gets on your face. Are you awake? I know you have to be up in 2 hours, but I accidentally broke the air fryer again. I was trying to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I just kind of grabbed around, and it felt like the toilet. So my bad. Don't ask me why there's pee in it. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. That was the dog. Yeah, it was definitely the dog. I definitely didn't turn it on afterwards, too. So ignore the smell of, like, burning urine, please. We have a neat narrow gauge train in the Harz Mountains. That sounds really neat. Hara wearing an absurd fake mustache and wig speaks. Yeah, that's the bird. It is the bird. Alrighty. I'm gonna stop stalling. As usual, I'm gonna pay attention to chat, but we're gonna start. If I can stop fucking hiccuping. We're gonna go ahead and start off with our first video. Like I said, this is a video that I would not usually allow. But because I want to talk about it, I'm gonna allow it this time. And again, I will also say, it uses some language that some people might not be cool with, and I sincerely apologize. I don't really care for that word to be used in a public setting. But we'll just have to deal with it so I can get my point across, okay? So if you're like very uncomfortable with the R word, not one that rhymes with grape, but the other one, you might want to like, I don't know, mute stream for like a good, like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Which I'll totally understand. I know it's not like, you know, make your head explode if you hear it, but like it can just be really uncomfortable and just not comfy, so I totally get it. All right. So let me pull this up real quick. I forget, can you throw a Twitch link into the search bar and find the video? You can! Honestly, that's a very useful thing. Okay. Give me a moment. Alright. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get it up. I know that a lot of people, like this, like I said, like this entertainer, and I totally understand. But, as typically, as I've said before, when you're watching people that do history content and do not have really expertise or a degree or a background in history, you should definitely take their opinions and the statements they say with a grain of salt. Even when you're listening to historians and history professionals, you should still do the same. If you listen and hear something that you're like, I don't know if that's really correct, feel free to go look up some academic sources and create your own beliefs off of it. Obviously, like, history is full of opinions, but you can still definitely say things that are definitely wrong. You can be opinionated about certain events that we know definitely happened. You cannot be just straight up wrong about events. So, we're gonna go ahead and watch the first, I think the first minute, and then we're gonna skip to about, like, I think, like, right here, or something like that. And I'm gonna make 2 different points against what he makes. And again, I know it's not super serious. I know Fat Electrician is kind of a bit of a history memer, more than he is an expert, and he doesn't really, you know, pitch himself as like super educational, but still, these are common things that are said and thought about, like these conflicts, and I would like to dispel them pretty soundly, hopefully. Again, he is entitled to his opinion. You are entitled to your opinion. I am in no way calling him stupid or malicious or ignorant or anything like that by making this critique. I just want to reiterate that in case this somehow finds its way to him or some fans or anything like that. There is no ill will here. I'm just seeking to add context and clarification. So yeah, and also provide a little bit of my own opinion. So, did I unmute it? I did not. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get this first like minute or so out of the way, and then I'll say my piece.
Bro,
I've spent
you're in
the last
college
48 hours of my life just raging communism simps because Donald Trump,
haven't done it right
Donald
yet.
Trump had that fucking comment about how like, oh, Russia beat the Nazis, and now it's weird because like Donald Trump, right, but like communist sympathizers left, and now all the communist sympathizers are like, yes, Russia beat the Nazis by themselves, and I'm just shitting on all of them, and it's. I can't handle being on X. I'm gonna get canceled if I go on there and have to argue with these fucking people.
What is it? As you're saying, it is this quick history lesson. You're going to see, yes, Russia threw a fuck ton of bodies and helped stop the war machine that was Nazi Germany.
Yes, but if your claim to fame is we had the most people die, that's a really shitty stat. I'm sorry. Like,
That's been done.
Imagine if I was in the NBA Finals and LeBron dunked on me the most amount of times, and I was like, I deserve to be MVP because I gave up the most points.
No.
Oh my
fucking
God.
stupid.
Did you know about the NBA? That's impressive.
It's more like League of Legends or Call of Duty, like Warzone. It is you and your 3 buddies are at the top, and that 4th person on that team has a KD of .006. He's died 80 times. Bro, got 1 kill. He's like,
And then
this is my fucking war.
You get all these fucking dudes that simp over. Oh, Did you know the USSR actually manufactured more tanks than America during World War II? Oh, did they? Did they really?
You're scaring
Really
me.
interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
Who'd America send to the Soviet Union in, I don't know, like fucking 1929 and started their entire industrial revolution when he founded the Stalingrad tractor factory?
Who?
Oh, it was Albert Kahn, aka the architect of fucking Detroit. Literally, America started your entire manufacturing capability. And you're gonna sit here and try to flex on me like that's a fucking big W for communism.
Okay, so I think we finally got our points together. So the first one that I would like to focus on is where Mr. Electrician here, if I may be so bold to refer to him as that, obviously says like, and again, I would like to also reiterate, I'm not ideologically communist. I feel like that's kind of obvious. But also, there are some facts and commonly academic, how do I put this? Some common academically understood facts that come to World War II and the kind of the contributions provided by each ally during World War II. So to give some background, it is very, 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 very common, way too fucking common. He sure did. Way too fucking common. Where people, it's been going on since probably the beginning of the internet. Historians did not really start this. I don't know where it came from. It was probably politically, ideologically driven. Post-war, both by the Soviet Union and Russia and Great Britain, as I'm about to talk about. But since about the beginning of the internet, all discourse when it comes to World War II is which ally did the most. Which any academic, any historian would tell you, who gives a shit? The Allies worked together to win it. It was a combined effort. It doesn't fucking matter. Which is honestly the best way to look at it. However, sadly, because things are the internet and people are uninformed and people have opinions, very strong opinions that are often decided and judged off of things they learned in their childhood, things that were usually incorrect. American school system. They tend to think that by showing their patriotism, they can prove that their nation was the main reason the war was won. And I'm here to tell you that no true singular ally won World War II. A lot of historians say that World War II was won with Russian blood, British, I think, bravery or courage, and American industry, which is pretty factual. There are three key things. Those key three things were all needed for the Allies to overcome Nazi Germany. The Eastern conflict, which saw most of the fighting and much of the dying, as Electrician has said here, was very important in wearing down a lot of the military strength of the Wehrmacht, the Luftwaffe, and more. However, the Soviet Union would not have been able to do that kind of grinding down if it weren't for the American Lend-Lease program that was supplying both Great Britain, the Allied factions, and the Soviet Union to allow them to do that kind of meat grinding warfare that happened on the Eastern Front. And then obviously, Europe would have been in a much worse position, and Nazi Germany would have been in an incredible position if the British had simply thrown in the towel, given in, and made a peace accord with Hitler prior to the invasion of the Soviet Union. So all three are extremely necessary to that time period of like the 1940s for the Allies to win the war. And you cannot win the... the Allies might have been able to have won anyway, because let's be honest, the Nazis were really fucking stringing themselves along there. But it would have been much harder to win for any of the Allies to have done it alone, or even just two out of the three. So, now to focus on, to juxtapose, fancy word, onto what Electrician has said here, where his statement was, Commie Boo saying they won the war single-handedly by having the most deaths, is kind of like getting your ass beat, getting the last punch in, and then saying, woo, we did it. You know what I mean? Which, if we're being honest, I hate to put it this way, because I've already said that it took a combined effort, an equal combined effort. But if we had to talk about which Allied faction suffered the most for the Allied victory, it is almost unquestionably the Soviet Union. Almost unquestionably. And again, putting it to a contest is fucking stupid, but there's a lot of factors that show why the Soviet Union put in a ton of effort. And not only is it because of their bodies, their deaths do not display the whole, if you just look at their deaths, it does not display the whole context of the Eastern Theater. And that is because you have to be reminded that while the Soviets died more than the Germans on the Eastern Front, the battle of attrition was so brutal that it quite literally kept 3/4 of Germany preoccupied for the Allies to push into Normandy. So I want to give a fun little statistic, and again, it's a small statistic and should still not be used to justify the greater context, but if you had to guess, chat, I'll answer some questions here in a little bit, but if you had to guess, chat, how many Tiger Ones do you think the Western Front saw in World War II? I'll allow you to take a guess. Actually, I'll put it differently. How many times do you think the Allies encountered Tigers in battle, in combat, on the Western Front? I'll allow you all to take a guess. We're talking all between 1940 and 1945. Tiger Ones. I'll give everyone a little bit longer. So the answer is 3. The Allies saw direct combat with Tiger tanks a total of 3 times. Tiger Ones. Ironically, the Allies fought more Tiger 2s than they did Tiger 1s, and the first rollout of the Tiger 2 was defending the Normandy beaches. However, most of the 500 fleet of Tiger 2s went to the Eastern Front. So, that is again, do not judge the whole context of this argument off that one statistic, but that just goes to show how focused Germany was on eliminating the Soviet threat. So much so that they were willing to put all of their, pretty much most of their older equipment, we're talking like 2 or 3 years here, mostly Panzer IVs, Panzer IIIs, Stugs, Martyrs, things like that, anti-tank guns, on the Western Front. Meanwhile, they took all their big weapons, like their Tigers, their Tiger 2s, their Panthers, and pushed all of them eastward. And that is because the Soviets were really giving them a run for their money the entire fucking time. So, yeah. That is just one way to look at it. But also, like, we're also looking at the fact, you know, the Eastern Front also saw the largest tank battle in world history, the largest air battle in world history, the largest, like, ground offensives in world history. Like, we're unironically talking about where, like, the Battle of the Bulge was crazy because I think some odd, like, I don't even know. I think it was like a couple thousand Americans got captured during the Battle of the Bulge. There would be one offensive on the Eastern Front that would literally capture 200,000 people. Like, just straight up capture 200,000 people. One offensive. Like, it's not really comparable. So there's so much death and destruction on the Eastern Front that wears down so much of the supplies of the Wehrmacht and the Luftwaffe that, of course, there's going to be a lot of Soviet deaths. The scale of battle was almost twice as high. You know what I mean? Like, it's that crazy. The difference is that crazy. So, like, yeah, the Soviets died the most. But also, they definitely killed the most Nazis. Like, easily. Like, far and away easily. Not to mention the fact that you have to imagine, though, on the Eastern Front, they weren't just fighting the Nazis. While the Western Front saw Vichy France, which honestly did not have that many military supporters, and the Germans, the Eastern Front had things like Nazi Germany, Finland, Bulgaria, Austria, the Soviet Union had to contend with like 6 fucking countries that were all chipping in to fight the Soviet Union. And granted, they were uniting because they fucking hated the Soviet Union for very valid reasons. But that just puts into perspective like how many men were actually on the Eastern Front. So yeah. That is the first thing that I like to push back upon. So I would actually, you know, from a historian's perspective, and as someone, as you guys know, is extremely critical of the Soviet Union, it is very fair to say that the Soviet Union probably committed just a teensy little bit more than anyone else, because of not only those deaths, but because of that attrition that they provided on the Wehrmacht. Like, if it wasn't for the Soviets keeping them tied down, the Allies would have had an extremely difficult time breaching Normandy, for example. So yeah. Weren't most tigers and panthers on the Western Front buried in concrete and used as gun emplacements? Not only that, but also the Allies usually did not see, of the few amount of tigers and panthers and tiger twos that they saw outside of the Normandy landings, usually most Allies did not actually witness any of the nicer equipment that Nazi Germany used until they actually invaded Germany proper. Which is like at least half of the Western Front. It just straight up is, you know? But that is also, I would like to also add on to this to say, if you, well, I don't want to say you, because I don't think there's anybody here in chat that's like this, but I would automatically go ahead and say that anyone that identifies themselves as a Teaboo, a Wereaboo, a Commie-boo, or anyone that makes those kind of arguments, as Fat Electrician says here, are pretty dumb. And I true and well feel that way, from a historian's perspective. They're very ignorant to what the actual, like, facts and the actual strategies and tactics used, and instead they have a world ideology, or they like an aesthetic, and they really just want to defend that aesthetic or that ideology until they're red in the face. And that is not the right way to look at history. History should use facts and educated opinions to promote your thoughts on history. You should not be using history as a bat to serve your ideology. You know what I mean? You're aware they already landed in Italy by Normandy in August 1944. They just drove up on the beaches of southern France because there was no opposition. Are you Bunky? Yes, of course I am aware of that. You know I'm a historian, right? You understand that the Allies also had an extremely terrible time taking Italy. And again, if it wasn't for the Soviets holding the Nazis eastward, they actually would have been kicked out of Italy. Oh, okay, well then add people you're talking to. My bad. I thought you were saying that to me and I was like, bruh, no shit. But yeah. So yeah, that is something to consider. I would say that, like, any of those groups that make that, anyone that you meet that makes the argument of the Soviet Union did all the work, or America did all the work, or Great Britain did all the work, or even that Nazi Germany ever had a fucking chance, immediately just disregard their historical opinions because they don't know what they're talking about. No, it's good, Bunky. But yeah, that is a massive red flag to where you should essentially take that opinion and immediately discard anything that comes out of their mouth afterwards. Because not only are they ideologically driven, but they have no clue what they're talking about. That cheetahs are not the fastest birds. Yes, I'm aware. But yeah, so that is my first thing here. I wanna like offer a foil to Fat Electrician's opinion here that, like, the most deaths doesn't mean they did the most. I would say there's a lot of other contributing factors that show where the Soviet Union debatably did a little bit more and suffered a little bit more than the other factions. But also I'd like to say, name one other country outside of the people that were actively genocided that lost full-on, like, 2 generations of men. So much so that after the war, they purposefully invaded other satellite states and abducted people to revitalize their population. Not saying it was correct, But only one country did that, and that was pretty much out of pure necessity, and that was the Soviet Union. That many people died. The Soviets could have won the war if they were capitalists. That's my opinion. I firmly believe that push comes to shove, I don't know if they'd win it, as in I don't know if they'd invade Nazi Germany. But they would at least be able to push the Germans back to Poland at some point. Regardless of who helped. Just straight up. I've got to look something up to be sure. So for example, D-Day was not until June 6, 1944. That is when the Allies actually get into Europe and actually start pushing Nazi Germany. Stalingrad ended in 1943. 3 years ahead of time. So that means there was no Western Front when Stalingrad had been turned around. So, yeah. That's all I'm saying there. Like that just goes to show, like, the turning points. The Soviet Union was already pushing back Nazi Germany 3 years ahead of the Allies actually landing at Normandy Beach. That should be a lot of what that says there. So, technically, I truly believe that the Soviet Union probably could have won if the US didn't even enter, frankly. At least in the European theater. The Soviet Union probably would have been able to do that. The United States would have never allowed that, but assuming that they're ideologically friendly and not just holding it together because they both hate the Nazis, but still hate each other, then the United States could have literally just bankrolled the Soviet Union to a dub. So. Approximately 187 Tiger I tanks were faced by Allied forces on the Western Front. That's fantastic, ODST. That does not conflict with what I said at all. I said there were only 3 major conflicts the Allies saw Tiger I's. And that's out of how many Tiger I's that were built? Probably almost tens of thousands. If I had to make a guess. Oh, not tens of thousands. Man, I really overestimated how many Tiger I's they made. Still, that's a tenth of what they actually put out. That's crazy. I always forget that, like, Tiger I's were, like, 42. I always think that, like, Tigers were, like, 40s. Like, just straight up 40. Dim big cat tonks, I agree. But also, I don't know where you're getting that number, ODST, because there's only 3 documented encounters with Tiger I tanks by US forces. So if you could share where you get that, probably in the Discord, that'd be great, because everywhere I'm looking says there's only 3 documented encounters. So. And that's usually because you have to remember the Tiger I stopped being produced in 44, so. But that's usually what's agreed upon academically. But yeah. Didn't the M3 GMC destroy tigers in Africa? I have no clue. I actually don't know if there are any tigers actually sent to Africa. I've never really looked into that. I feel like, personally, off of an entirely unresearched opinion, I feel like Tiger I's would be way too frustrating for Nazi Germany to ship. With also the way that those battles are fought, they would not have been reliable and, like, maneuverable enough to do what happened there with those battles. That is scary, Bunky. You also have to remember that also, Americans also had a really bad tendency. This is why we're going by documented encounters, by the way. Americans at the time in World War II had a really fucking bad tendency to not only over-exaggerate what they saw and how many they destroyed, but also Americans during World War II would literally look at any German tank and go, "It's a tiger!" Like, unironically. It was extremely common. So, that's another issue. So, you have to really just go by what we can confirm documented-wise. Because they'll look at, like, I mean, they would literally look at, like, Panzer fucking twos and be like, "Oh my god, it's a tiger!" So did the Russians. I mean, fair enough, but that still doesn't, like, change the fact that 9/10 of them were sent to the Eastern Front. It's a dumb argument. It's a really dumb argument to make that, like, it's even comparable. I'm trying to see if there's any questions I missed. Overestimation happens everywhere. Well, yeah, of course it did. But also, if overestimation happens anywhere, it's still like, you know, like the line of standard is still kind of there. It's just a little bit higher than everything else. You know what I mean? Like, if everyone overestimates on everything to the same degree, it's still, like, a constant. You just lower the numbers across the board. Did the Germans try to make their weaker tanks look like tigers to strike fear into the enemy? I actually don't know about that. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that happening. Honestly, because Panzer IVs were extremely formidable for the time period. Not only were they formidable, but I mean, a lot of people would honestly say that Panzer IVs were unironically the best tanks in the German arsenal. Their gun was more than good enough to pin through most Allied tanks, as the Allies unironically did not have a heavy tank that they really used frequently on the Western Front. The Eastern Front obviously had more, with I think the IS series and the later T-34 series. But the Panzer IV could essentially knock out just about anything on the Western Front. The 3s were pretty good with their snub nose. The 2s and 1s were really good for the fast blitzkrieg style warfare that they waged. So, they were also more reliable, typically. Less heavy, more reliable, had more interchangeable parts with other Panzer series, because they shared similar parts. It took less fuel. Like, they were just kind of better across the board. If we're being honest, Tiger 1s and Tiger 2s caused a lot of problems for Nazi Germany because they were kind of overdone. It was kind of overkill. It isn't that much of a bad argument, considering most of the equipment the Russians faced was also old. What do you mean by that? Panzer IV just reached its upgrade limit according to the Tank Museum Bovington. I mean, it kind of did, but it didn't really need to be upgraded anymore for the time period. It really didn't. Even into 45, it was still a pretty effective tank, for being completely honest. Also, yeah, IDing in an active battle can be really hard. Sometimes when there's massive fucking shells whizzing over your head and shooting machine gun bullets at you, sometimes you just see a box and you're just gonna go, it was a fucking tank. I don't fucking know. I didn't really exactly hang around to find out. On a per unit basis, German equipment was newer, but the Russians just made more of good enough. Yeah, but also like factories, like typically for the Soviet Union, had there was a large discrepancy in quality per factory. You'd have one that pump out like 2 or 3 T-34s in a time span that would be fantastic, and then the one like 10 miles down the road would pump out 30, and they're all dog shit quality and could explode any minute. So I guess it's kind of rare that a war's progression is decided by the apex high tech of the time, but rather what has already been fielded and tried and tested for a while. Not only that, but also you have to remember that like logistics are typically the most important part of a conflict. They really are. And so while the Tiger one, like in terms of a one-on-one matchup with the Panzer IV might be better in terms of beating it and would have a really easy time beating it, it's also, the logistics behind it just aren't as useful as a Panzer IV. It's much easier to integrate things that are supported by other things in your combined arms warfare, especially during this time period, compared to, banking all your money on one big old fucking super tank or super boat or super plane. And that's why the wonder weapons were fucking stupid. The only one that was actually worth a damn were pretty much the V2 rockets. And even then, like, they were just kind of okay. Like, the Americans showed towards the end of World War II that you can throw enough money at something to make something incredibly useful. The problem is that the Americans had the wherewithal and the ability to do that, and the Germans did not. And that is why the Super Fortress was not only more expensive than the atomic bomb, but also debatably much more effective. Straight up. Probably the greatest invention of the war was the Super Fortress. It is a Super Fortress, right? I'm not being stupid with that. Like, ironically, the plane that carried the nuclear bomb was more valuable than the nuclear bomb itself. And that's because, again, like, you've made a bomber that, after development, is rather, granted, still more expensive than anything Nazi Germany could have handled, but inexpensive compared to, a wonder weapon, while at the same time being unironically a wonder weapon. It's just a typical fucking bomber that can fly outside of the range of anything else. Like, that's all you really need. You don't need some giant fucking flying wing, a B-2 fucking bomber, 60 years before it's actually useful to implement, or like the biggest battleship ever, and shit like that. Like, honestly, the Axis were really dog shit in the sense of like, yeah, this is really big and really cool and really powerful. However, we didn't think about the fact that it costs a lot of gas. Both the Japanese and Nazi Germany were really dog shit about that. And that's because if you look at the main reasons why both of these nations began to do what they did, it's because they were natural resource starved. Usually through their own fault, but they decided also to their own fault that instead of trading, they'd rather just try to snatch it from people. So, yeah. So yeah, that's my first take on this. Now, we have one more. Let me get to it. And again, he does say, some uncomfy words, so careful.
Happy to admit that they contributed to beating the Nazis. If you think they did it on their own, it's because you're breathing through your mouth and you're objectively fucking
Okay, he's about to say the word. But he is correct. And this is where he kind of circles it back around, and I entirely agree, as I've stated. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think that he is trying to say that, the Soviet Union's useless or the worst out of the Allies or anything like that, obviously. And I want to make that very clear. He obviously thinks, and correctly thinks, that it took a combined effort from all three Allies, which is the correct take. So that's really good. Let me skip back, over the word.
And the USSR had an agreement that they were gonna go ahead. They're like, oh, go ahead, invade fucking Poland, and we're gonna have separate spheres of influence, and then we're not gonna fight. And then the Nazis attacked the USSR anyway.
Okay, So this is my second one with this video. And again, he's mostly correct on this. But I want to add some clarification that I'm actually sure that he knows about this. It's just obviously he's jokingly ranting and he's not going to go into the 15-minute rant like I am, like a fucking nerd. But the one detail I would like to add here, so he is correct. The Soviets and Nazi Germany worked together, obviously, to carve up Poland in the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. But also, not only were they working with each other long before that, in the sense of that actually in the mid to late 1930s, the Soviet Union allowed Germany to develop their military in Soviet-controlled territories because they saw the Nazis as a problem for the capitalists in Europe, and were trying to pit the capitalist allies, you know, Great Britain, America, France, against Germany to cause problems with them, and then the USSR planned to swoop on in and take it all over after the dust settled. Well, the issue was that, you know, Hitler always planned to attack the Soviet Union as well, and he just happened to decide that side first because he thought the Allies were knocked out of it. So in reality, the entire time, both Stalin and Hitler planned on backstabbing one another. Stalin was only surprised because he was surprised that Hitler did it so early. He expected that he had more time when he really didn't. But from literally the 30s onward, both the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany were trying to use each other to pit the other against everyone else so that they would get destroyed, and then the other one that survives, that didn't get involved in it, would be able to take over, you know, would be able to rush in after the dust settles and everyone's exhausted. That was the plan of both factions, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, with the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. So yeah. And yes, both of them ideologically hated one another. It was very obvious from the very beginning. Both of them knew that too. Both Hitler and Stalin knew that the other one was planning to backstab them from the very beginning. From the very beginning. It's just that they thought that they were going to be the ones to do it first. You know what I mean? They both thought that they would be the ones to win. They both had an ego, that they were very much smarter than the other one, and that they were going to be the one to make the first move and surprise the other one. So, yeah. And frankly, Nazi Germany swinging first with Barbarossa was probably the only way they were ever going to get that deep into the Soviet Union. Probably. If they had waited longer and the Soviet Union had swung first, I don't know if Germany could have kept up. Because, like, you have to also remember that while Lend-Lease was extremely important, the Soviet Union's still vastly outbuilt Germany, even if it was to much lower quality. So, yeah. But anyway, that's all I wanted to focus on with this video. I didn't really watch deeper into it. And again, nothing negative for Electrician here. Like I said, his sentiments were fine, and in context, nothing he says is like outright wrong. I just wanted to provide clarification because it's very easy for people to watch videos like these and develop like really deep opinions off of asinine, jokey arguments and like rants like Electrician's doing here. And I want to make sure people don't do that. And I'm not saying that's his fault. Again, I'm trying to really cover my bases here, but obviously I'm not saying that's his fault. That's just the nature of the internet. So, yeah. Question, did Italy's invasion in Greece really delay the operation? It did, because Nazi Germany actually had to take a portion of the offensive and reroute it through the Balkans and down to Greece to assist the Italians. It did unironically split off a actual kind of sizable portion, because the plan is that the lower southern prong was supposed to sweep through the Balkans, well, like the north side of the Balkans, and then down to the Black Sea to take over the oil fields. But they had to be rerouted to go help Italy and Greece and then hold Greece. So now, like, the middle prong now had to split itself in two and move towards Stalingrad, while the other prong now had to make the move towards the southern oil fields. Meanwhile, the northern prong made its way towards Moscow. When originally it would have been a three-prong attack, it ended up being like 1 and 2 halves. So, yeah. Hey, Anamarchy! How's it going, dude? Welcome in. just wanted to really get deep into this because I know a lot of people like Fat Electrician, and again, I don't think he's a bad person, obviously. But I just want to reiterate that, like, it's very easy to make some deep assumptions off of just pop history. So it's totally fine to enjoy pop history. I love pop history, if I'm being honest. Extra History that was recommended to me a while back. I've done nothing but watch all their videos. But I'm just saying you shouldn't form explicitly deep opinions off of things you see off these videos. If it interests you and you're like, whoa, that's fucking neat, before you make some big grand opinion, go and do your own research. All right, I know this one, Battle of Saratoga. Hey, Muse! Germans really looking at Italy being like, I don't know what I expected, but come on, within Greece, of all nations, push them back. Pretty much. It's also really ironic because at first, Mussolini did not want anything to do with being associated with Nazism because he saw Hitler as like kind of like a wannabe fanboy, because in the beginning he was. He was inspired by Henry Ford, the creator of Ford Auto Company, and Mussolini. And really idolized Mussolini at first. And then both kind of had a really up and down rocky relationship. So yeah. Yeah, Italy almost joined the Allies. I mean, they did towards the end, and they collapsed pretty quickly, if we're being honest. Italy would have fallen very quickly. Why did Hitler like Ford? Because Henry Ford really, he wrote a long fucking book. He had his own newspaper while he owned Ford. And in his twilight years, he became increasingly anti-Semitic. He fell down, ironically, kind of like today, a conspiracy theory pipeline. And he was kind of one of the first people to mainstream push the idea in the modern period about Jews controlling banks, Jews controlling, governments, things like that, causing wars and things like that. That was kind of revived in the modern era and made popular. That movement was made popular by a newspaper that Henry Ford published and then eventually turned into 3 books. Then those 3 books were sold overseas in Europe and became very, very popular among Hitler and his circle. Not only in his youth, but also post-World War I. So, unironically, Hitler was unironically inspired by Henry Ford's anti-Semitism. And you could honestly argue that Henry Ford and his ideas of industrialization and hatred of Jews and his anti-Semitism is a big reason of the Holocaust. Because also, like, it was so prolific that Hitler unironically had a portrait of Henry Ford in his office. Like, we're not talking like Hitler read it once and then based his entire opinion off it and forgot about Henry Ford. No. Like, straight up into, like, the 40s, Hitler had a portrait of Henry Ford in his office. It was that fucking bad. Also, if I'm being honest, Henry Ford was a genius when he was younger and then later on was a fucking idiot. Just straight up. Just a fucking moron. Bro had no clue. He was an egomaniac. He was egomaniacal. He literally horrendously abused his own son out of this weird, like, attempt to toughen him up. He was very anti-Semitic, pretty racist, and honestly hated workers' rights despite being one of the main proponents at the time for workers' rights. It's really weird. Ford was really, really weird. He was a very conflicted, hypocritical man. So yeah, that is how I feel about it. I'll also say again, I know we're talking about a communism video, but if you bring politics in here and throwing around like McCarthy era blank as a communist kind of stuff, you will be banned. I don't deal with that cringe shit. I don't care about your ideology. I don't care about your LARP. I don't care. Shut up. McCarthyism died rightfully in the 80s and it should have stayed there forever because it's fucking stupid. God. If you want a fun read about Ford, go look up Fordlandia. Oh, I'm well aware about Fordlandia. Don't worry. That's what I mean when he was an idiot. Like, for example, there was a portion of a time towards the end of his, like, control over the Ford Motor Company where he literally wanted this factory built in, I think it was Red Rock, something like that. But it was a larger city, and he wanted it built in this specific place. And his board and his son and his wife were all like, this is a fucking stupid idea. It's unnecessary. Like, it's not a good place for a factory, all of these things. And he essentially, like, did this stupid little coup where he found a way to kick out his board and get all of his shares back for the company so he could build it in this one location. And then after being there for a year, found out he fucking hated it and closed it. He was a fucking moron. He's a dumbass. He was just a straight up dumbass. He was very ingenious as a child. As a young adult, as a young man, he was very ingenious. But he got an ego and turned into a moron. That's literally what happened, so. Hey, Cartovo, welcome in. That was it, River Rouge. That's what it was. But yeah, Fordlandia was a rubber plantation in Brazil where he tried to, like, turn Brazilians into Americans through, like, forced ideological, like, regimens, and it fucking failed horribly. It was so stupid he wouldn't even let them play soccer. Like, unironically. Like, he would literally figure out their meals months in advance that they would be forced to eat, and then, like, he saw soccer as un-American, so he wouldn't let fucking Brazilians, you know, the country known for soccer, play fucking soccer. It was fucking dumb. It's so dumb. And then also he imported a botanist or exported a botanist to Fordlandia to plant rubber trees. And the botanist was there for like 2 weeks and was like, yeah, this shit's impossible. All the rubber trees are gonna fucking die because there's a specific fungus in the rainforest you're clearing out that'll eat the trees. It literally is useless. Really, 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 really dumb. He was ideologically driven and he was really dumb. He literally disowned his own son because he smoked and drank. It was really dumb. But yeah, so that was this video. We're gonna check out another one. Let me go ahead and pick one up. I gotta find one real quick. But I have to go to the bathroom. So, before we start the next one, I'm gonna take a look and see how long this one is real quick, because this one looks interesting. Okay, 9 minutes. We'll do this one. The greatest art history heist in history. When I get back, I'm gonna go take a quick pee break. And when I get back, we'll watch this one. I think I already know what this is. I think it's the Swedish Job. Oh, no, this one's different. He stole the Mona Lisa. Holy shit, that's crazy. 1911. All right, this ought to be interesting. I don't think I've heard of this one. So we'll be right back, friends. See you, Red. Man, I'm not gonna lie, my voice feels really good today, and I really wish this would happen more often, because it feels fantastic. I don't have, like, any pain, I don't have, like, any, like, hoarseness, my voice is squeaky everywhere. So, it's really nice having a full voice for a stream for once. I don't know what I did last night, I actually kind of slept like ass, but, I need to figure this shit out, dude. I got curious about a factory that made planes during World War II that I go to and just found out it got bought out by a Fortune 500 company. Ouch. Okay, so I don't know who needs to hear this, but the Mona Lisa is just a really old portrait painting. Yeah, and? Hey, Lorelai, how's it going? I think you didn't yell as much, which is shocking. I actually yelled a lot on Monday. Granted, I haven't yelled a lot since last stream, but I think it's also just like 3-hour-long streams really don't put that much strain on my voice. I think it's when we get like 5 hours is when my voice is like, all right, I'm dying, peace. All right, so we're gonna check this one out real quick. We spent a lot of time talking about that first video as I expected, but I hope you guys found a lot of interesting stuff on it. I hope I was really informative, and I hope that it was fun. Sorry if things get opinionated or if I am opinionated. Obviously, I'm going to be, every historian's a little bit biased in specific areas. But I think I was pretty fair, so. Hopped in here earlier than I needed to take a nap. That sounds nice. I'd like a nap, honestly. Alright, so we're gonna go and get started with this next one.
In Paris. For weeks, a record-breaking heat wave has been cooking the city, leaving the streets empty and the Louvre quieter than ever. No one dares to go outside, but for one man, it's time to strike.
Okay, so I want to make a quick point. So this is 1911, and being a museum, working at a museum, granted, we don't have the biggest security detail, but most museums obviously have a team of security. So I'm very curious to see how he gets around security like he does, and honestly, if I'm not mistaken, he probably just goes at it with a box cutter and pulls it out of the frame, rolls it up, stuffs it in his jacket, and walks out. Because that is the only way these days that you're going to be able to really take a painting like that. And even then, you have to be really fucking lucky. Because these days, for example, I went to a lot of the Smithsonian affiliated stuff and federal art museums in DC in December. And when I tell you that they have a security team, bro, they have a fucking security team. I am saying there's like 3 people in every room. Even if the room is like 50 by 50 feet, there are like 3 people in that fucking room, and they're all in different corners looking at all the paintings from different angles. Like, just straight up. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to one, a really nice art gallery or a nice art museum, but they don't typically cover them with like acrylic stands or acrylic panes or glass or anything like that. Honestly, because I've never worked in an art museum, I'm not really sure why. I would kind of go with it for protection over viewability, but who knows? I've only worked in history museums and we always put acrylic over our shit. So, but anyway, so you could quite literally touch the paintings, at any of those museums today. However, there's so many people watching and you're not even supposed to fucking breathe on them because breathing will degrade the paintings. That they will literally get mad at you, like straight up get mad at you if you get too close. Like you put your face in too close or you put your phone too close, things like that. And that's because oil on your hands, saliva, even stuff coming off your breath will degrade paintings. And that's why everything you see in a museum is typically on rotation. That way everything can get degraded a little bit, sent back to the collections room, repaired a little bit, sit in storage for 6 months, and then come back out to reprieve the other item. So it's very, very common. So yeah, that's a big no-no when you go to these places. Like, not only because of shit what I think is gonna be here, where he literally just cuts the fucking painting out of the frame, but also because, like, you're actively degrading it just by existing too close. Like, just straight up, that's how it works. It's the same thing with handling objects in a museum. I'm not supposed to ever touch an item with my bare hands. Prime example. I'm always supposed to wear, like, what is it, nitrile gloves, like medical gloves. is typically what I'm supposed to wear. Either that or cloth one, or like cotton ones, like soft cotton ones. It really depends on if the item is going to get caught on the cotton, is whether, depending on which one I use. Sorry, we have to ask you to leave. Your 5G phone is degrading the painting, actually, though. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I know you paid $35 to get in here, but you wear a Fortnite shirt in here, and it's really just killing the fucking artistic vibe. So as of the latest order by the current administration, I'm going to have to ask you to politely leave, and you will not be receiving a refund. I think you understand why. The answer is that you're just going to spend it on V-Bucks. So, yeah. Thanks. All right, let's see what he does.
The heist of the century, plucking the Mona Lisa from the Louvre and disappearing into the city. This set off a worldwide investigation, leading French police down a 2-year rabbit hole of falsely...
Yeah, you're not supposed to wear backpacks in any of the Smithsonian museums either. You can wear like small bags, but no like actual backpacks.
Remodeled the entire thing.
They have like a bag check and stuff.
Man stole the Mona Lisa. How he almost got away.
Actually, I take that back. Actually, at the Smithsonian museums, you can wear a backpack around, but they tell you to keep both hands on both straps at all times, and if they're not, they'll get mad at you. Straight up.
The
not kidding.
Behind the heist that was eventually,
and that's at every museum in DC. Just about.
The sun went down that Sunday evening.
Yeah, because if your hands are on the straps, you have to have both straps on. Like both straps your backpack on. You can't do one strap. You have to double strap it. So you have to look like a geek. I mean, you're at a fucking art museum anyway, but you have to look like a geek. And then your hands have to be like on the straps, on both straps, or they have to be by your sides. Like, you're not allowed to, like, you know, fumble around with your backpack.
But just before it closed, a man entered the museum dressed in the Louvre's official...
Hey, Peasant. Yeah, we were just talking about the backpack policies at the art museums in DC.
To a small storage closet, squeezed
dude, everyone's two-strapping it. Oh, yeah, the fucking Jump Street. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought about.
Employees were going to be patrolling the museum. At precisely 7:15,
oh, we made like 30 seconds in.
Emerged into an almost empty Louvre, with no one in...
Wait, what'd you ask? Hold on. Have we even made it 10 seconds into the video before we spent 1 minute talking about how your stench can degrade a painting? Bro, that's terrible. I might admit radioactivity, and I'm definitely degrading paintings with my presence, but fuck you for that, man. It's still weird they let you one-strap it. I thought they didn't let you one-strap it. I thought that was what I was just saying. I'm pretty sure they didn't let us one-strap it. I thought I got yelled at for one-strapping it. Am I misremembering? I'm probably misremembering. I could have sworn that I got in trouble for one-strapping it, but I can't remember. Anyway.
Inside, he quickly made his way into the Salon Carré, and there it was. At the time, the Mona Lisa didn't have its own room. And it
he dressed like an employee. I mean,
as it is today.
Even if he's dressed like an employee, still, museum protocol would not have him just randomly finagle a painting. Like, just straight up. Because, like, okay, so the thing is like in a museum as big as the Louvre, you're gonna have, like, a team of specific people working on moving the items themselves. Even a curator, even a collection specialist should not be moving the paintings. You have a team for that. You have a literal team for moving items. That is their entire purpose. They know how to take care of the items while moving. They know how to package them correctly. All of that shit. Your person that is doing the archiving and the collections and the accessioning should not be moving paintings. So, like, typically the security team knows who that group of people are. And even if they see some random guy, granted this was 1911, walking up to a painting that is not part of that group, they're obviously going to ask, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing over here, dude? Oh, till it was nearly empty. Okay, well, that makes more sense. No, you have to put both on, or you have to put it on one arm, or put it on your chest. That's really weird. Huh. I wonder what the reason's for. That's really odd. I wonder why they make you put it on one arm and not two. It's like, wouldn't it make it easier to throw to the ground and stuff things in? That was my whole reasoning for thinking it was the other way around. Oh, that's what it was. Right. Because it's harder for you to hit things with it because you're more cognizant of it if it's on one arm. No, that's fair. What if I wear it like a diaper? I think that's all good. They said you can wear it to your chest bow strap. So, I mean, if you can fit it on there like that, why the fuck not? Right, yeah, because we were in the statue section. That's right. Yeah, I remember now. They had open statues. Hey, Herc, how's it going?
But the thief was
That
about
makes
to
more
change
sense.
that. With no one in sight, he pulled the painting off its metal pins and carried it to a nearby stairwell.
Oh my god, he
Using
literally
a
took it
screwdriver,
frame and all.
He managed to remove the painting from its protective frame before covering it in a white sheet and heading straight for the nearest exit.
What?
But as he reached for the door, it was locked. At that exact moment, a plumber working for the Louvre appeared out of nowhere. He assumed that the man was a Louvre employee, and so he helped him open the door. And just like that, the thief disappeared into the city with the Mona Lisa under his arms. The whole heist was over in just a matter of minutes. But it would take
Thank you for the
another
follow,
28
Echo. Welcome into the
hours
cult.
before anyone realized the painting was really gone. That week, photographers
It took them a full day to realize it was fucking gone, too. That's... Look, I get it's 1911. You could quite literally, like, murder 5 people in broad daylight and get away with it. But, like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like, they're not even trying at that point. The fucking French guard, I guess, was out fucking getting him some fucking coffee and cigarettes.
had been going through the
Good
museums
Lord.
and taking the paintings to be officially photographed.
That was easy.
So
A
blank
toddler
spaces
could have
on
walked
the
out with that
wall were
painting.
Completely normal. But when the photographers showed up the next morning,
Yeah, I
without
know
the
people
Mona
ate
Lisa,
powdered mummies
it
in their
became
coffee.
clear that something was extremely wrong. The
Yeah,
Mona
imagine
Lisa
actually
was
being that
officially
plumber.
Missing. The police were called, and a team of detectives descended on the museum. France closed.
Oh
its
yeah, you know
borders.
those famous 1911 forensics. They're totally gonna be able to figure out who this fucking guy was with their security cameras and their DNA testing. He might as well actually be a ghost at this point. Like, closing the borders was extremely smart. It makes sense, but like, you're fucked. It is fucked. I would be surprised if they find him in the next 10 years. I really would be. Is that a wheeled tank? Yeah, I guess that is a wheeled tank, and that is a Leclerc, which I think that's an AMX, so it is technically French, but I think they just ran out of, like, 3D models for World War I tanks. Because it is crazy seeing a Leclerc there in 1911. Thank you for the alert, Coil. Let me take your organs. Yeah, being that plumber would suck ass, bro.
And stationed tanks around the
I'd
museum.
literally be like, look, I only know
Just
pipes, bro,
these
and how to
tanks
clean
weren't
them.
used, but they can be used
Oh.
in war
Okay,
thunder.
well, that explains the
War
Leclerc.
Thunder is
That
a
was
free
easy.
play
I love how even when we're not doing a War Thunder night, I can't fucking escape War Thunder. Because War Thunder knows their demographic so goddamn well. God damn it. Son of a bitch. Anyway.
When the Louvre announced that one of its prized possessions had disappeared, it sent shockwaves all around the world. And the question
Then
was,
orange justice
where
until you
did it
had a
go?
divine vision. I mean,
All
that's
the
what I
police
do
had
whenever I
found
have
was the wooden
something
picture
bad
frame
happen.
and a fingerprint left behind by the thief. To get the investigation
Oh my God, he
going,
actually left the
local
fingerprint
newspapers
fingerprint
started
behind.
offering a reward of $250,000 for any information that would lead them to the painting. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of people
See,
sent letters.
The other problem is like, granted, it would be probably very hard for you to sell it in France because it's seen as a national icon. But if you make it out of France, like, it might be a little difficult to find a seller, but they would definitely buy the Mona Lisa. It's 1911. Like, say he makes it to Austria and sells it in Austria to some rich baron. Bro, the French government is not ever going to be able to find its way to that Austrian man and take that from him. They're just not. Not in 1911. It's not like today where, like, if you sold the Mona Lisa on the black market, it's so obvious that you would immediately get fucked up by international, like, police. But, like, here it's just like, it's 1911, bro. A guy just got shot outside of is about to get shot outside of a fucking sandwich shop. Like, there's none of that by a homeless guy. Like, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no safety brakes. There's nothing.
And showed up to police stations with all kinds of information, placing the Mona Lisa all over the world.
Nah, you wouldn't be able to get away with it.
Called
You really wouldn't be able to get away with it. It's too iconic. You can do it with things that most people don't know about, like specific Rembrandts or like Van Goghs and things like that are kind of easy to get away with because people don't know what they are. The general public don't know what they look like. So you could put them up for sale and people would not know that they were originally in a museum. Everyone and their brother knows that the Mona Lisa is in the Louvre. You know what I mean? Like that it was in a museum and that it's stolen museum property. So like, well, you could definitely still do it, and it does happen today. It's actually happened, I think, in the last 10 years. I think there was a really big art heist, and a lot of like lesser-known paintings went missing. But notably, they dodged all of the well-known paintings. All the thieves did. They took the lesser-known ones. Because why would you take out one worth $1 million that would be extremely hard to sell and get away with when you can take 10 that are worth $100K a piece and easily sell them and never get caught? They just hide it and hold it, but that's the thing. You won't be able to sell it ever. Like, it has no value if you just hold it. Unless you yourself are already rich or you're being contracted for a job by someone that already is rich, is the thing. Or you somehow get on a flight to Abu Dhabi with it on your person. Yeah, no, they just like having it. There's no, that is not true. All of the thieves unironically steal them for money. It's not just for having it. Like, to those kind of people, those paintings are useless. It's like, I don't even know. It's like going to a jewelry store and stealing a bunch of diamond rings and just keeping the diamond rings. Thieves, yeah, but they're buyers. Yeah, the buyers, if they can find one. The problem is a lot of these thieves don't have those connections.
seeing a man leaving the Louvre with a
Because again, making those connect, like, how do you start a conversation with, yes, I know you're rich, would you like to buy a national treasure? That's like asking a friend if they want to start doing crime. Like, how do you start that conversation? If you start it the wrong way, you're just going to jail. Like,
descriptions of the man were completely different. One person claimed that the Mona Lisa was on a freight train heading through Belgium, and another claimed that the painting was on a ship which had already set sail for America. But perhaps the most promising suspect was the famous artist, Pablo Picasso. A secretary who knew Picasso wrote to the police and admitted that he had stolen several Iberian statues.
yo, thank you for the
from
follow,
Louvre.
Star
He claimed
Sheep
to have
named
sold the
Draven.
statues
Welcome
to
into the cult, how you
Picasso, who
doing?
went on to use them in one of his paintings. It seemed unlikely, but after checking the serial number on the statues, the
No,
Louvre
I normally
confirmed
just say,
that they
sup,
really
slime,
were
you
from
down
the
to
museum.
crime today?
Picasso
Actually,
was arrested and taken in for questioning.
they
Meanwhile,
actually arrested Pablo Picasso. That's crazy. It's insane.
the police turned their attention to another famous suspect, American banker and art collector
Oh, there
J.P.
definitely
Morgan.
is peasant.
At
I'm
the
just
time,
saying that, like, the
art
Mona
was
Lisa is
indeed
too hot of an
and
item.
paintings
Is
were
my
often being forged
argument.
and
It's just
sold
too
to
hot of an item.
millionaires in America. According to the claim, Morgan had commissioned the heist, and the painting was now on its way to him. Police in America stopped and searched a boat pulling into New York, but there was no.
And honestly, as I'm not saying that like I'm an art connoisseur or some shit like that, but the Mona Lisa is a little overrated.
Searching the location of the Mona Lisa.
Just speaking hypotheticals, yeah, no, I totally get you.
History. As it turned out, the Mona Lisa hadn't gone far at all, and it was sitting in an apartment just 2 miles from the Louvre. This was the apartment of Vincenzo Perugia, a 29-year-old.
I'm an art connoisseur, and I can confirm. That's what I thought.
He knew every weakness of the Louvre.
Maybe she was a
He
10
knew
in the
that it was
day.
closed
Oh my
on
god,
Mondays.
bro.
He knew about the
Oh my fucking god. Hold on. I gotta look something up real quick to make sure I get the terminology right. I don't want to say it weird. Yeah. She was a 10 at the time. You had like Frederick from fucking Vienna over here looking at fucking the Mona Lisa going, oh yeah, her buccal fat is a 10 out of 10, dude. You can tell she's been working out that fat on her cheeks. It's fucking crazy. God damn, the things I do to get to those buccal, buckle, however you fucking say it, cheek fat, dude. And that double chin. Oh my god, bro. I bet gravy just fucking rolls right down that fucking thing. I bet she likes sausage gravy too. I bet she likes it thick.
Photographers, and it was him who had made the
Hey
Mona
Lee,
Lisa
how's it going, buddy?
which he dismantled so
Frederick be
easily.
like, this is gravy. Got any of her
After leaving the
ankles?
Louvre, he hid
Yes, hello. Do you know if she's bathed in the last 3 weeks? I would prefer if she hasn't.
painting in a trunk with a false floor, which he had made himself.
Da Vinci was an engineer, painted like an engineer, very neat, but not the best artist ever. I get that.
Perugia already had a criminal record, and his fingerprints were already in the system. But only his right hand.
Waiting for
fingerprints were in the
Wu
system,
Chang to come
and the
out.
one
What's
on the
Wu Chang?
picture frame was a left hand print, and so a match was never found.
Mona Lisa bathwater, please. Actually, though, dude, give me the Mona Lisa sweat cup.
Little did they know that the Mona Lisa was hiding right under their noses.
That's crazy.
He pulled off a stupidly simple heist, and it seemed like he would get away with it. But after 2 years holding the painting hostage, he started to get impatient.
I don't know why. Welcome in, Gaunt. I don't know why, but the way you said that just made me think of a New Yorker accent. It was like, what is this? The Guna Lisa? Come on! Like, I'm good in here. What do you want? I'm good in here. Come on. Oh my god, it's just her with her, it's literally the Mona Lisa, like, shot for shot, and the art style looks the same, but her tits are out. He's like, what the fuck is this? The Guna Lisa? Come on! I'm trying to goon over here, come on! It's art appreciation! It's not Neanderthal gooning, it's appreciative, it's autistic! It's autistic gooning, come on! This is gonna be my Gamer Subs flavor, Mona Lisa bathwater. Honestly, I'd buy it, bro. It better be really fucking chalky too. It would not be realistic and true to form if the flavor wasn't really fucking chalky. You can just say it's got a lot of fucking pigment. Alright, as your uncle from Jersey ASMR. Actually though, dude. I'm gonna start dissecting worshippers with a Jersey accent. Alright, I'm ripping out your liver, come on. Much like the sandwiches my uncle used to eat until he got gout, I'm pulling out your liver, come on. What would the shaker design be? I just told you, it's honestly gonna be Mona Lisa in a micro bikini. Have you seen those Gamer Subs cups? Let's be completely honest, bro. It's gonna be Mona Lisa with her fucking buccal fat and her fucking double chin and her fucking 6-pack of hot dog's neck and a fucking micro bikini with a bit of tummy chub. Let's be honest, we've all seen the cups. And you know for a fact that Da Vinci's ass is somewhere in heaven or hell going, oh fuck yes, that's awesome. Thank God, that was my original idea for the Mona Lisa. I'm glad that humanity finally completed it in the year of our Lord 2025 through a fucking energy drink company. Like those chalk candies like Pez. Exactly. Like, they've got like good flavor, but on the back end you're still just like, yeah, that's powder. That's chemicals. Kind of tastes like what I would imagine baby powder tastes like.
An anonymous letter to an art dealer in Florence, the city where Da Vinci painted the masterpiece.
Da Vinci, the vision is finally complete, actually. Da Vinci's like, this, 2025, the Guna Lisa, this is the true Renaissance. This is truly the peak, almost knocked over my drink. This is truly the peak of human artistic achievement.
Back to
If only I could have drawn titties with good 3/4 perspective, then we could have achieved it almost 300 years earlier.
Agreed to meet Perugia in his hotel room to authenticate the painting. With the doors locked, Perugia opened up the trunk, and to their surprise, it really was the Mona Lisa. In order to further
That's crazy.
authenticate the painting, the art dealers took it back to their studio, assuring Perugia that he would be rewarded for bringing it back to Italy.
Wait, whoa, hold on. So he gave it up for free?
Sitting in an
Huh?
apartment just 2 miles from the Louvre. This was
I'm
the
so
apartment
confused.
of Vincenzo Perugia, a 29-year-old Italian who used to work at the Louvre as
Bro, okay, can we just talk about the fact? I know I missed this part because we're too busy joking, but this guy straight up looks like an art thief mastermind. Let's be honest. Like, this guy's got like a slight, like, he's just got the slightest grin. He's like, the slightest grin in his face where he's like, yeah, I did it. And I almost got away with it too. It's that easy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, his mustache is like curled upwards. And he's just like, yeah, I did it. You know what they say? He who dares wins.
a handyman. He knew
He was a handyman!
the Louvre. He knew that it was closed on Mondays. He knew about the photographers, and it was
Hara summoning Renaissance art masters ghosts to explain to them what hentai is. Honestly,
After leaving
you know what? That's what we're doing. I'm ripping the soul of Michelangelo out of the afterlife so that he can paint a Gunnar hentai version of the Sistine Chapel on the roof of our temple. And it will be known as the next Renaissance. So count it. Count it.
He hid the painting in a trunk with a false floor, which he had made himself.
I tried to get Grok to make my Guna Lisa bathwater label, but it was too powerful of a prompt. That's crazy.
Prints were already in the system, but only
You got a job? Let's go!
were in the system.
Congratulations,
And
I'm
the one
proud of
on the
you.
front Was a left-hand print.
A
And so
left-hand
match
print.
was never found.
Ooh.
During the investigation, police had visited Perugia's apartment twice, but never found anything. Little did they know that the Mona Lisa was hiding right under their noses. Perugia had
You think this
pulled
guy just,
off
like, hid it under his
a
bed?
simple heist, and it seemed like he would get away with it. But after 2 years holding the painting hostage, he started.
Oh yeah, I'm well aware, Fox. There's also a real-life cardinal who's got his dick eaten by a snake on there.
She painted the masterpiece. In the letter, he claimed to have the Mona Lisa in his possession and said he wanted to return it back to its home. He signed the letter with the name Leonardo. And
Did he just
took
get
a
guilty?
train to
Like
Florence.
a guilty conscience?
The art dealer and his associate agreed to meet Perugia in his hotel room to authenticate the painting. With the doors locked, Perugia opened up the trunk, and to their surprise, it really was the Mona Lisa. In order to further authenticate the painting, the art dealers took it back to their studio.
The German F-18's really
He would
good.
be rewarded for bringing it
Not a
back.
bad buy.
But just an hour later, the police showed
It's
up
the
at his door
cops!
and arrested him. Perugia ended up spending just 7 months in
That's
prison and
it?
died just 10 years later. Although the search for the Mona Lisa was over, the
Dude,
truth
1911 was crazy. To be fair, those 7 months in that 1911 French prison was probably legitimately the worst 7 months of his fucking life. Like, unironically, can you imagine a 1911 French prison? Have you seen French prisons now? They're pretty bad. I can only imagine what 1911 looked like. It probably looked like the inside of the Alamo currently. Like, I bet the bed didn't even, it was made out of like fucking wood splinters.
seemed to have gone to the grave. But in 1932, a story was published.
Oh, he had it for
that
2
revealed
years?
a much
Interesting.
more elaborate plan behind the heist. Written by Carl Decker, he claimed to know the man who was really behind the heist, a man named Eduardo de Valfierno, an expert
Oh.
in art forgery. He had come up with a grand plan to sell not 1, but 6 perfect copies of the Mona Lisa to 6 unsuspecting millionaires lined up in America.
Okay, that is genius. That is actually genius. So I don't think it worked out. But the idea was to steal the Mona Lisa and not keep it or sell it because it's such a hot fucking item, but to forge it, to have it with you so you can make an accurate forgery, and then sell it for millions of dollars, the forgeries, and then have your fall guy for a fuck ton of money just give it back. Give the real one back. That's insane. That is genius. Okay, I gotta figure out how this didn't work out, because that's smart as shit.
He commissioned a talented French painter to make the copies and shipped them off to America and put them into storage. In order for them to believe they were really getting their hands on the Mona Lisa, the real one
Had
go
to stay missing.
and so he
Exactly.
contracted Perugia to pull off the heist. When news spread that the Mona Lisa had gone missing, the paintings were sold to their buyers, and the three involved ran off with the equivalent of $90 million. And now, time for the Primal Space giveaway.
That's it? It worked? It worked? Oh my god, dude, that is 6-head. That is a 6-headed play. That feels like that worked today, bro. That's crazy. That is genius. I also wonder if that was 90 million in today's dollars or then dollars. It had to have been today's dollars. But that's insanity, bro. God, okay, honestly, I've said it frequently where like living in the past would suck. And I firmly believe that. But goddamn, was it way too easy to commit crazy ass crimes to create generational wealth. I'm sure all 3 of their children are alive, their great grandchildren are alive today and like are still extremely wealthy. Like that blows my fucking mind. I can't believe that fucking worked. I just wonder how much the Fall Guy got. The Fall Guy probably still made at least 6 figures. Like, that is fucking mind-blowing, dude. That blows my fucking mind. 3rd generation always loses the wealth. Unless you set it up in a trust. Or it's, like, not liquid. Imagine being related to the dude that stole the Mona Lisa. I mean, if I had to pick between that, if I had to live in Argentina and pick between that or a Nazi SS officer, I think I'd go with that one. Dude, I think I'd go with the dude that stole the Mona Lisa. I think I'd pretty obviously pick that one. All right, that was a great video, though. That blew my mind. I did not expect the extra layer to it, and I definitely didn't expect them to actually get away with it, too. That's awesome. That's sick. Plus, like, it's kind of a victimless crime. If you're kind of shitty enough as an American rich guy to buy the fucking Mona Lisa instead of return it to France, you kind of deserve to get scammed. Just my take. All right. Let's pick up another one. Let's see here. We might watch an extra history video because I really like their stuff and they're all about 10 minutes and it's on the Opium War. But first, I like American Flyer's submission for the Greek Civil War in 8 minutes because that's not something I really know about. Well, I know the gist, which is essentially that after World War II ended, communist and capitalist groups in Greece then fought for control of the government in the post-World War, and the Allies and the Soviets pretty much had their first proxy. But yeah. That's like, I only really know the basics, so let's check it out. Oh, I unmuted it, but it didn't work.
From Greece towards the Germany, Italy, and Bulgaria were forced to withdraw from Greece towards the end of World War II. But only 6 weeks later, Greece entered a new war. Greece is the only country in Central, Balkan, and Eastern Europe where communists attempted to take power, but failed. This is the Greek Civil War in record time with hindsight.
I'm liking the production on this video. I will say though, am I the only one that's like this? Where like, I'm extremely picky about narrators with these videos. Like, extremely picky. To like a kind of a bad degree, frankly. But after a while, they started feeling a little off. What do you mean? What's off about them? But like, I'm really picky about narrators, honestly. It's not so much that they're bad, Lorelai. I mean, more of such of like voice. Like their voice has to be comfortable for me. Like really good. Like they have to have a really good voice. Like for example, if I did one of these videos, I probably wouldn't be able to watch it.
Historians often recognize 3 phases of the conflict. The first started long before World War II was over. Greece was
oh yeah, I can't do AI at all. I hate the AI videos. I'm so happy those are getting rid of.
And their territory was taken over by Germany. The Greeks fiercely resisted the occupation, and they did so in multiple forms. Just to simplify, you can divide the resistance groups into two camps: those supported by communist parties and those who were Republican. This brushes over all the nuances.
So pretty much every other country that was faced by
Communists
imperial
and Republicans.
Axis members in World War II.
The various resistance groups weren't united in their resistance and even clashed in some instances with each other while being occupied by the Axis powers. Towards the end of the war, the communists were gaining the upper hand.
Sounds accurate. That's usually how it goes.
As the battle lines were closing in on the city of Berlin, the Germans were expected to surrender. And at this time, across Europe, fighting and violence erupted.
I mean, I guess you are listening to me,
The
but
Germans had retreated just a few weeks earlier, and the country was liberated. The Greek police, with support from the weakened British forces, were struggling to maintain order.
that's right. I forgot. The reason it happened is because the British actually got directly involved. Just one of the few times where the Allies, the Western capitalist nations actually got like straight up frontline involved during a Soviet proxy war, which was not super common.
In the eve of December 3rd,
Napoleon!
Greece was going to make a dramatic turn. Shortly after sunset,
I feel that, McMahon. I really do like the new narrator, though. I like his voice.
towards the city center. The police tried to block them.
The old narrator has like the up-pitched voice, and it's like definitely through like a video thing, an audio thing, and I don't care for it.
The protesters were answering to a call from a communist resistance group. The Greek government had decided a few months earlier that they and other similar groups would soon fall under the leadership of the Greek government. This was signed into effect by the Prime Minister of Greece when he was still in exile a few months earlier.
Okay.
Now, upon his return to Greece, the Prime Minister was in rage. As the protesters were raging and ranting outside, he was hiding in the bedroom of the royal palace. The police.
Oh, why is this like a
trouble
half
maintaining
FPS?
order. The protesters broke through the last.
That hurt my head a little bit.
stormed The palace, but only when they reached the monument of the unknown soldier, it turned vile.
Oh, wow.
The Greek police received orders to shoot. There were also British soldiers present, but they were instructed not to interfere. They stood by as the Greek officers shot with live ammunition into the crowd, killing at least 28 demonstrators and wounding many.
Yeah, sounds
many
like a
more.
mid-20th
This
century
was the most
response to a
dramatic and
protest.
bloodiest of the December events. And with hindsight, this is the moment that Greece entered the civil war. Athens became
Oh my
a
God!
battleground became
Hold on, he's doing the War Thunder strategy. This guy's a cheeser, dude. He cheeses. What a nerd. He's actually doing the War Thunder. Oh my God, he's doing the War Thunder strat, chat. He's doing the War Thunder strat. He knows. He was 60 years before his time. He understood if I lead with the engine block and transmission, I probably won't die. That's crazy, dude. I love it.
Athens became a battleground between communist groups, government forces, and British soldiers.
I will say something that has to definitely suck, and this was very common in the post-World War II world, is like either getting drafted for World War II and not seeing a lot of combat and being like, okay, I'm cool. I've served my time. I can just go home and now I can start my life again. Or escaping the draft entirely because you're too young and being like, okay, I dodged the worst conflict in history. Now I can begin my life without fear. And then like the Civil War in Greece happens or Korea happens. And you're like, oh, sick. I get to witness war anyway. That's gotta be so incredibly frustrating. Like, unironically. Like, same thing if you're like in the Eastern theater, like the European theater, and it ends and you get shipped to the Pacific. I'd be livid, dude. Where it's like, well, technically you fought in the Battle of the Bulge and it was fucking nightmarish, but you got sent to the back line afterwards and didn't really fight anybody. So now you're landing on Iwo Jima. And it's like, bruh. You're telling me I escaped Normandy only to have to participate in Normandy 2? Debatably worse Normandy? Like, oh my god. What do you mean these guys literally hold on to hand grenades while surrendering? God damn it. This blows.
Was suffering tremendous losses. In Barkisa, near Athens, the leaders of the government and communist resistance parties came together.
What do you mean I have to fight over a frozen fucking lake in North Korea?
The agreement included 9 articles that described how civil liberties such as freedom of press and union forming would be reinstated. They agreed on giving amnesty for all political offenses except those in common law against life and property. The Greek government promised to
It's like the
reform
whole
national
born
army
too late,
in
just
such a way that
before,
guerrilla
and just
fighters
in
would
time
be
to deploy in the
accepted.
Middle East, actually.
The communist guerrillas handed over their weapons. Martial law was lifted, political crimes forgiven, and the
Well,
referendum
you wouldn't
would
have
be
gone.
organized.
You wouldn't have gone from fighting German and Japanese tactics to fighting Vietnamese tactics. It would have been Korean. But like, the thing is like, you could honestly argue that like, I honestly might even argue that fighting in Korea was debatably worse than fighting in Europe. Like straight up. Like, I'm not gonna say that, like, again, that, like, it was kind of already over by the time the Normandy happened, because it wasn't. It definitely wasn't over yet. But you're not having to defend a hill against 300,000 men armed with rifles and small mortars trying to climb up the hill when it's you and, like, 3,000 other general infantrymen with barely any air support. Like, that was not Eastern Europe. That was Korea. Did I also forget to mention, yeah, there's more automatic weapons, for one, and for two, did I also mention it's so fucking cold that, like, a fourth of you and your friends would lose toes and fingers to fucking frostbite? Like, fuck that. Fuck that. Yeah, exactly. One of those hills where, like, you literally are going to retake a hill that has been recaptured 10 times and seen thousands of Americans slaughtered and tens of thousands, like, not tens of thousands, like, more thousands, a multitude of thousands more Chinese and North Koreans murdered and dying on this one hill. Like, fuck that, bro. Fuck it. The grass, there's so much blood that the grass is dying off on said hill.
But over the course of the next couple of months,
That is
all
so
parties
much fucking worse than
occurred.
than the Western Front in Europe.
The government launched a campaign against the communists and frequently ignored the amnesty. The communists
Yeah, just hundreds of
didn't
frozen
hand over
Chinese
all their
guys. Yeah,
weapons
yep.
And started forming factions underground.
Literally having to watch at the top of a hill as you see these guys just running at you from across a valley over a river in the middle of winter. So fucking numerous. They are incountable. They're uncountable, incalculable. The number of men that you see running your fucking way. And you're low on ammo. And it's, you know, again, frozen and you haven't had food in like a day and a half. Yeah, fuck that.
Greece
No thanks.
We're living in a climate of violence.
You can put in the Discord, Apollyon. There's a History React
Communist
channel.
parties called for a boycott of the 1946 elections. With
Wasn't White Friday one that happened in Italy? I don't think I've heard of that
cases
one.
Of fraud, the right-wing government won the elections far ahead of schedule, and as discussed, they restored the monarchy through a referendum. Many Greeks were opposed to the idea of a communist government, but they were also less than enthusiastic about the re-establishment of the monarchy. The country was drifting ever closer to an open civil conflict.
I mean, yeah, obviously Chinese casualties are just guesses, but Chosen was
In Albania,
insanity.
Bulgaria,
Even if
and
you did really
Yugoslavia,
well and the proportions were
communist
crazy, it was
governments
still
were
insanity.
formed, while the Greek communists were forced to operate underground. In 1946, they reinvented themselves. The remnants of the communist guerrillas renamed themselves the Greek Democratic Army and was now fully controlled by the Communist Party.
That's crazy.
They had 10 times fewer soldiers than the National Army, but they used hit-and-run tactics of guerrilla warfare. Even though they scored some notable successes in the beginning, they were unable to capture any major cities. The conflict was heating up. and
Oh,
was
so
getting
like they
more
were like
and more
Hannibal pretty much.
expensive. It became increasingly challenging for the United
They're like, yeah, you're
Kingdom
tearing us up, but you're not really
from the
taking anything
war
of value.
to support the Greeks with money and supplies. Harry S. Truman, at that time, was the President of the United States. With the Greek case specifically in mind, he created the Truman Doctrine, a policy intended to aid parties fighting communist expansion. Greece received $400 million in financial
That's
aid,
crazy.
and the National Army
They
received
essentially got their
training
own
from
Marshall
American
Plan.
officials. By itself, this would have decided the outcome of the Civil War, but the communist troops also made the disastrous decision to shift from guerrilla tactics to more traditional set-piece battles.
Honestly, classic
Heavily
mistake.
outnumbered and out-armed, they made a speedy decline. The battle lasted until the last mountain stronghold fell in August 1949. Hey, what do you know about the Spanish Civil War?
Okay, so I will say, like, I'm gonna have a mild critique on this video. I feel like the script could have been a little bit better. I know that I was talking through like half of it and talking about something mildly unrelated. But I felt like the video could have been a bit more put together. As a mild critique. I kind of wish it would have delved a little bit deeper. Obviously, you can't do that in 8 minutes. But it kind of just seemed like he listed off like factual events, and that's about it. I wanted a little bit more than that, but I get it. That would just be my critique for this video. I would ask personally, for a little bit more on it. Okay, let me see here. What else we got? I know there's some stuff from last time that we missed, so let me double check and run back through things. Okay, I want to watch this one. Hopefully it's not too long, because this one looks very interesting. Okay, cool. An introduction to tournaments. It's medieval. We're switching it up. Oh, I forgot. I gotta unmute it again. I'm dumb. Wait, what the heck? Oh, hey, Durandel. Perfect timing. How you doing? Welcome in. Why are you muted? Mute tab. Unmute tab. Hello? Where is the audio? Did I break something? I feel like I broke something. Hold on.
Of the previous
See, there's still audio for that one. Oh, I was looking at the wrong tab. Okay, never mind. It's fixed.
The medieval tournament began as a preparation for war, but it became a popular court pastime.
Yeah, I'd imagine it would be,
There were three
GB.
main types of combat:
Falling off a horse hurts. Hey, Jadel.
joust and foot combat.
Music honestly kind of
The
bangs.
tournament developed from the earliest form of tournament, in which mock battles between cavalry, often supported by infantry, took place over large tracts of land. These were dangerous, not only to those taking part, but to the inhabitants of the area, and to the rulers who had to prevent mock war turning into real civil disturbance. Soon, therefore, rules
That's gotta
were
really
introduced.
suck, actually, where it's like, all right, like, we're playing for fun. And then, like, two, like, kids playing, one hits the other slightly too hard. And now, all of a sudden, it's completely on, like Donkey Kong. And now we're actually killing one another with these dull fucking swords. That's gotta be so ass. Like, being, like, the person watching or, like, that set it up and being like, well, that sucks.
Of a free-for-all fight with large numbers on either side remained.
Hey, hi, how's it going?
The tourney was a contest between two groups of mounted combatants, often using a variety of weapons.
That was a really bad sound effect.
This is a club tourney, as fought at the court of Duke René of Anjou in the mid-15th century.
What?
Duke René, who had fought with Joan of Arc against the English, wrote a treatise which describes and illustrates the fighters' clubs and their special barred helmets.
Honestly, dude, this is guys' night. Let's be honest. You know, like, you get bored, so you guys pick up a hobby where once every other Saturday, you and your lads get together, get on your noblest steed, put on your nicest armor, and just start hitting each other with clubs. Like, actual guys' night. Let's be honest.
With distinguishing crest.
Invite me. I want to do it. That sounds like a lot of fun. I literally did that. I did a HEMA club in college. That's crazy. Hara, how big is your wiener? 8.5 inches.
In danger of serious injury.
That's insane, dude. Yeah, let's just, let's go have some beers, bound back a couple natty lights, maybe order some chilies to go, and then get on our horses and start beating each other with clubs. I expected bigger. No, you see, any bigger and it would hurt the ladies,
These
so.
riders are preparing for one form of the event we most recognize, the joust, with the tilt preventing the horses from colliding. For as soon as shields and helmets are in place, this will be a series of contests, each involving two mounted opponents armed with lances.
That's
The
crazy.
tilt gave its name to this form of jousting popular in Tudor England. The joust developed as practice for the heavily armoured cavalry of the early Middle Ages. Originally, it was fought with the same lance as used in battle, the main object to unhorse or disable the opponent. By the later Middle Ages, jousting was highly regulated and had many forms. In some jousts,
Yeah, it literally turned into a
was still
sport.
used, known as jousts of war. But in most, blunt lances were used. These were known as jousts of peace, the main object being to score by shattering the
So if you're doing a
lance
joust of
against
war,
the
I'd imagine it'd be like some kind of duel, like actual like hatred between you and the other person. I can't see a sport being with actual lances. You know what I mean? It just being sporting.
Inconclusive, and a second run begins. Closer, but still no advantage. The jousters passed left side to left side, with the lance couched or tucked under the right arm and passed across the horse's neck. The earliest instruction book on jousting, written in about 1434 by King Duarte of Portugal, discusses the psychological pitfalls of the joust.
Yeah, but imagine joust of speed piece still fucking hurt. You're still getting hit by a giant piece of wood going into your fucking like armor at a fixed point, so it applies more pressure on that single point, enough to knock you off of a horse, probably sitting like what, 6 feet high in the air. Yeah, that's gonna hurt like a bitch.
To hit. Others realize that they close them but cannot stop doing so, and some swerve away, fearing the.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry, hi. That's what I was thinking, Fire.
Remember how few accidents come from jousting compared with hunting or battle. Set your eyes on your opponent and force your will to remain fixed until you see the tip of the lance meet its target.
Oh, he broke it. Wow. Crazy. Bro, you just know the maidens were getting absolutely fucking turned off of wine and Sir Gilliesby winning the tourney, bro. Like, they're probably pulling up their dresses, flashing their knickers and everything, bro. Crazy times.
Like the other forms of the tournament, foot combat was highly regulated.
Hey, Sitchmo, welcome in. How you doing?
In some, points were taken away for foul blows, and points awarded for the number and quality of good hits. Some for disarming them.
Hey, bro, I don't know how to tell you this, dude, but I'm gonna be completely honest. I saw your maiden and your side maiden at the tourney flashing ankles at Sir Gilliesby. You know, the guy that won the most recent tourney? Bro, I'm gonna be real. She for the cobblestone. 100 over 100. 100 shillings over 100 shillings.
Opponent. Foot combat usually involved two opponents fighting with swords, or as here, poleaxes, within an enclosure. The visor offered facial protection, but some combatants risked fighting without it for visibility and fresh air.
Bro, what's up with the pose? Why did he hit it like a fighting game? Did y'all see that? He's like, all right, go. Look at him. Yeah. All right. Start the animation. Like, it's unironically like 3, 2, 1. Hold on.
But some combatants risked fighting without it for visibility and fresh air.
3, 2, 1. Let's rock. Like, yeah, he really does need to put his visor down. Bro was like, nah, I want my face in the documentary. I don't care if I get crippled. Oh! Oh my god, bro. He did the hook the knee move. Oh, is that like MMA? Yeah, it's like MMA where he's like, all right, I don't want to get killed. Thanks. It's like, chill, bro. Chill. It was a joke. That was really sick, though. Thanks for sharing that. I like that. That was really fun. All right. We're going to watch, we're probably going to watch the, what do I want to watch next? Actually, this one looks cool, too. I want to watch this one, too, if it's under 13 minutes. 8 minutes! Okay, I don't know why this guy looks like he has a 40mm Bofors, but, like, miniaturized, but, it's Samurai and Firearms. Let's watch it. Oh, I forgot. I've also got to unmute this one. I gotta do it because I don't want it to be too loud for you guys. They really do sound like two bags of tin cans going at each other. It sounds like when two homeless men ram their mobile shopping cart homes at each other, trying to when they're in a fight. You know what I'm talking about? So, but yeah, thank you, Durandal. That was a great video. Bros. What? That is very loud, but that's
Samurai
crazy.
And firearms. Samurai most certainly used firearms. Samurai codes of honor, or bushido, which have been greatly romanticized.
You're way louder than the videos.
and
No,
exaggerated in
duh.
the
That's the
modern era,
point.
did
Welcome
not
to the
prohibit
point.
Samurai from using
Welcome
guns.
to the point.
Samurai, above all else, existed to protect and serve their feudal lords, or a shogun, and to do so, samurai needed to win battles. There is little honor in losing battles that destroy your clan or topple your government. To win battles, samurai adopted guns and did so on a large scale, only several years after the Portuguese introduced the matchlock arquebus to Japan in 1540.
I do want to say that is something I've thought about. Like, that's something, like, the little limited amount of Japanese history that I've studied. It's very funny because, like, these days you get, like, a lot of, like, modern sensibilities that, like, the samurai and the Bushido code or whatever, like, and the shogunate wanted to keep their, like, Japanese honor by, like, not, using firearms. And that is just not true at all. Like, they were shown firearms and immediately were like, oh yeah, I get it. This fucking rocks. And they immediately, like, all started using it. Like, it is not like they were like, actually, out of the honor, I will only ever use my samurai sword, a bow, and a naginata. Nah, it was like, a gun? Fuck yeah, dude. Of course I'm using this shit. Like, this is awesome.
43. Even before this time, the Japanese experimented with firearms using.
So they always
primitive
preferred
metal
bow and
tubes,
arrows or guns?
copying mainland
Really?
designs
Interesting.
After the Mongol invasion of Japan in the late 13th century. One factor contributing to the myth that samurai never used firearms is that they were not used on the same scale as in Europe from the 17th century onwards. This was due to extended periods of peace in Japan. Limited iron resources also meant larger cannons, such as those used in Europe, were more difficult to produce. Unlike in Europe, where iron was more plentiful, Japanese smiths had to rely on a type of black sand rich in iron. One of the biggest contributing factors that led to the myth of samurai not
spears
using
were very
firearms
common because
was the
just,
Satsuma
I mean, if we're being completely honest, like, if you think about it historically, spears, halberds, naginatas, things among that variety, pikes, like, they're just really easy to use. Like, they're very effective because you don't have to have a ton of training with them to use them effectively. You've got reach. They're versatile against both cavalry and infantry. Like, they're just the best for that reason. They're just so versatile. Compared to swords, which, like, don't have a lot of reach. You require a lot of training to actually swing them correctly. Like, you can be disarmed easily. Like, spears are just so much more convenient. You could give them to a field of fucking peasants and they'll put in work instead of, like, having to rely on, like, 2 fucking swords masters to, like, defend your rear guard. You know what I mean? And, like, that is something that humanity found out real quickly. It wasn't just Japan that felt that way. It was very common in Europe as well. The enemy can't hit you if your stabby reaches farther than theirs. Unironically, that is kind of it. And knights not using firearms is also one of those things where, like, hell yeah, they did. Yeah, knights used it often. Not only that, but, like, a lot of people don't know that, like full plate armor was still common, like, up until World War I with, like, arquebuses and stuff like that. And it was even sometimes partially used, like, half plate in World War I because it could fucking sometimes block the bullets. Like, it was very common. So I'm trying this new thing called a salad, kind of weird. Wonder if it'll cause a heart attack. It's really good with croutons, Greek vinaigrette, and sun-dried tomatoes. Yeah, I know you mean spears. Pikes and spears are actually one of the most effective weapons from the dawn of creation all the way up to 30 Years' War and when gunpowder became actually somewhat reliable. Yeah. Correct. Long stick equals good. Long stick with sharp bits better, unironically. How did you know what's in the salad? Because I've told you, I'm a god. I see what you're doing.
This was a revolt led by the samurai class, which was losing influence and status. The samurai rebellion was crushed by a new, more modern imperial Japanese army.
Yeah, of course I can see you.
Thousands of modern guns
I'm
and
omnipotent.
artillery pieces. However, the samurai were not trying to fight in a more honorable or traditional method. They were fighting to win. The samurai rebels themselves.
I'm
used
sorry.
a few hundred
Yeah, you
guns
should
in the
be.
Fighting. They simply just had
You
fewer
should be.
resources than the Imperial Japanese Army. The concept of samurai not using firearms as a matter of honor has become exaggerated. Many samurai would likely use tanks or grenades if given the option. In fact, samurai using their swords as their primary weapon is also exaggerated on film. Samurai carried swords more for personal protection and status. Likewise, a samurai might also carry a matchlock pistol for status or personal protection while mounted.
I mean, like, because if you really think about it, right? Say you're locked in a one-on-one duel, and, like, you're on the battlefield, and there's war raging all around you. Like, yeah, the sword is probably what you're going to do most of your harm with. But the idea of knowing that you have an item in your possession that you can just go, haha, I automatically win, obviously is something you're going to take with you. You know what I mean? Like, quite literally, your ace in the hole, where it's like, man, this guy's a better swordsman than me. Good thing I have a gun. Like, Wow, this guy is a legendary swordsman of my era. Let's see him catch this fucking 45 caliber lead ball in his sternum and see how he does well with that. Like, let's see how good of a swordsman he is up against fucking that, bro. What's that? Looks like I'm gonna lose this duel. Good thing I brought my gun. Like, unironically.
Samurai were more likely to use polearms like the yari or spear in formations with other men. Samurai were also frequently mounted, particularly high-ranking samurai. A traditional primary
Yeah,
weapon of the
exactly. The
mounted
Indiana
samurai
Jones
was a
scene
bow,
where he shoots
such
the
as
swords
yumi,
guy, yeah.
and they were skilled horse archers. The first documented Japanese production of European-style matchlocks in the 16th century were called Tanegashima. The lord of the Japanese island of Tanegashima purchased 2 matchlock muskets from Portuguese travelers
2?
and had a skilled swordsmith copy the design.
Okay, can we just appreciate, I need to go like watch these kind of movies. Can we just appreciate how campy and awesome like 80s and 90s Japanese flicks are? Like, this is insanity, bro.
Matchlock muskets.
That is so fucking rad. What a cool idea.
Copy the design.
He just got a little gun shopping cart. Like,
to figure out how to use these cumbersome, slow-firing weapons effectively. It has been demonstrated that a skilled archer could fire 15 arrows in the time a gunner would take to load, charge, and shoot one of these original matchlocks. The effective range was also no better than a bow at about 80 to
he took his head
meters. Matchlocks are also vulnerable to the weather.
Ron is Kurosawa's version of King Lear. Definitely recommend. I'll check it out.
Archers and matchlock-equipped foot soldiers called ashigaru would be used together. The best aspect of the matchlock was that ashigaru could be trained much quicker to use a matchlock gun over a bow. Samurai would train and lead such groups of men, therefore samurai would need to be experts on these weapons. Samurai would train in the martial art of hojutsu, or the art of gunnery.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Maybe a hot take. Maybe a hot take. But guys, if you are in your late 20s and early 30s and are balding, why don't you go with the classic shogunate haircut? Keep your sides, shave the top, and have a bun on the back. And then just wear like a kimono everywhere. You're gonna get looked at weird, but at least you're not getting looked at as if you were balding. You know what I mean? Like, it's either that or shave it all off. I think guys should go with that. I'm gonna be honest. It could work. Probably not as well if you're white, but it could work. Yeah, and carry around a sword, yeah.
I would need to be
or a
experts
flintlock.
on these weapons. Samurai would train in the martial art of hojutsu, or the art of gunnery.
The Chon Mage was the name of that haircut. Was it Chon Mage or Chon Mage?
Cannons, like the Ozutsu. As the samurai mastered these weapons,
Or have an Asmongold bald head, yeah, where you just like comb it over disgustingly.
Rain of lead on the enemy, and this combined with larger calibers.
Okay, an American pattern kimono with like hot dogs and hamburgers on it would kind of go hard though, let's be honest.
Pulse entire cavalry charges.
And I'm sure the Japanese would unironically love it.
Use these weapons in the rain, protective covers.
I unironically feel like there would be so many, if you made a kimono with American flags, like Western, like Navy Colt pistols and hamburgers on it, I feel like it'd sell out in Japan really fast. Like, way faster than you'd honestly think it would, or it deserves to. I really feel that way. I feel like there'd be a lot of Japanese people that are like, that is so American and that is fucking rad and I want it. Like, I'm gonna wear this at my aunt's funeral 5 years from now and everyone else is gonna think I'm the coolest fucking person for getting it and I'm gonna say I got it from America. Just rent kimonos now. Yeah, I'd imagine it's a lot like suits here. Like guys with suits or like prom dresses. Where most people really just like either one, rent them, or one, buy one that they'll have for the rest of their life. But yeah. Japanese priest blessing an F-35, that was pretty sick.
used.
Yeah, it's also
To fire the
it's also just
weapons more
uncomfortable.
accurately and
I mean, to be fair, are we not going to sit there and act like a three-piece suit? Is it kind of complicated to wear compared to like regular clothing or like a dress, like a prom dress with like a corset and like garters? Like that's really fucking complicated compared to like a jeans and a t-shirt. Like I wouldn't want to wear that shit every day either. Not only am I like the tomboy, and I'm definitely not the frou-frou type, but like, bro, I'm not like clipping in 15 things under like a dress that also requires like 3 things clipped in, like I'm in some fucking plug suit for me to like wear casually. That's ass.
night, measuring strings were used to keep consistent barrel elevation. A quick-loading tube was developed called a hayago, made of bamboo. This contained gunpowder, wadding, and a bullet.
Oh, I straight up thought that was a hand
In
grenade,
the
but it's
year
literally just like a weird like
1567,
pistol.
Togeto Shingen, the most powerful daimyo of the late Sengoku period, rightfully believed firearms would come to
Interesting,
dominate
Savage. If you
battlefields.
post it in
He
recommendations,
reduced
I
the
will
number
definitely
of
get to it
spear
at some
units in
point.
his armies
Or I mean the
and equipped
history react,
thousands
I'll
of
definitely
men
get to it
with
at some point.
guns.
Sheesh.
Tepotai is the name for a gunnery unit.
I also want to say I kind of hoping he slips in just footage of one of Takeshi's castle. Like if I ever made a video like this with these kind of with this kind of footage, I would slip in like a half second of footage from Takeshi's castle and see if anybody notices. Just like an hour-long Japanese documentary on on Shogunate era Japan, and just slip in like a second of scene from Takeshi's castle, like the 2 guys sitting on the pillows or whatever, and just see if anybody catches it. I feel like that'd be hilarious.
At the Battle of Nagashino in 1575, 3,000 arquebusiers decimated enemy infantry.
Did anyone ever win
and
Takeshi's
cavalry.
castle? Actually, I think they had like a double-digit number of winners. Like I think it was like 10 to 20, if I'm not mistaken. It's very hard to win. Like not only have to go through a bunch of bullshit to get to the top of the castle, which was rare for people to do in an episode anyway, but then you had to do this like fucking like bumper cart derby that was just so fucking unfair for the contestant. Like, I mean, like absolutely unfair. It was an absolute like, it was like a boss fight for a game on the SNES or like an arcade cabinet. It's like he has like 4 fucking stages and like you have to hit him in like his eyeball that's the size of like 4 pixels and like some bullshit like that. Like that's literally how hard it was. But they still had people that won it, so.
Charges as they fired volleys of 1,000 shots at a time. Guns dominated.
Where do
battles
I
in
help
Japan
produce
until the
this?
Age of Peace,
Write a
and
script.
isolation
Write an
began in the
hour-long
17th
script.
century, known as the Edo period. The Edo
You're not
period
wrong,
lasted in
Ruan.
Japan from 1603
Questions
to
I'll be asking till
1868.
I die.
Tokugawa Ieyasu established the Tokugawa shogunate,
Bro, what a
which would
mustache.
oversee prosperity and peace for 250 years. Guns and gunsmiths still existed in Japan during this time, but Japan's guns did not propagate or evolve as such weapons.
I have no idea what that castle is. I need a video or show name. So the name of the show is Takeshi's Castle. It's like, imagine, Oda-san, imagine Wipeout before Wipeout, and it's all Japanese, like, shogun themed. Like, that was the whole point of it. Is like, you're at a shogunate era castle, that is Takeshi's castle, and you have to, like, essentially with all the other contestants, make your way to, like, the top of the castle to defeat Takeshi and take the castle. But yeah, Spike did a dubbed version with 2 American hosts just dubbing over the show, and it's called MXC, and it is really fucking funny. They don't take it seriously at all. They make up backgrounds for some of the characters that are like the people that are on there. It is incredible, and I'm so sad it's not on TV anymore. I might actually, now that you've been reminded of it, I might go to sleep to that tonight. I think I'm gonna put on like an 8-hour fucking video of English dubbed Takeshi's Castle and fall asleep to it. Because I used to do that. It used to also be on Adult Swim way back when, and it was so fucking amazing. It would literally be like Hi, this is Sakura Takanaka. She's a groundhog farmer from Eastern Kyoto, and her main hobbies are sock stitching and rice water drinking competitions. It would literally be shit like that. Like that would be the introductions they give for them. It's so fucking funny. And they'd have like Americans dub over like the contestants too, because they each have their own little introductions. And so the Japanese girl would be like a wink and like a cute little like double peace sign, and then like an immediate American woman go with like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, it's so fucking wacky. It's great. It's really good. Yeah, and then they'd immediately eat shit. Yeah, that was the best part. They'd have like this like 2-minute intro, or like this quick, not 2-minute, but like quick like 30-second intro, so you get to know this person, and then they'd face plant into like an actual rock. It's so fucking funny. Hey Marmar, welcome in.
During time.
But they would absolutely eat shit. There was this one part too where you had to like escape a rolling boulder by hiding in these little alcoves, and there are literal scenes where like workers of Takeshi's castle that are obviously working against you would shove people out in front of this actual like 40-pound like faux boulder, and they would just get fucking wiped out. It'd be so fucking funny. Like unironically, you're watching it and you're like, how does this person not have a concussion? Like that's insanity. Like thank God they're wearing fucking helmets, but how do they still not have a concussion? I just watched this guy get flattened like a fucking like insect under a boot, and like he's totally cool.
By the mid-19th century, with the increasing presence of European and American navies in the region, Japan did begin to slowly modernize.
That guy's dick's out.
Converting matchlock weapons.
Wait, hold on.
Japan did begin to slowly.
Oh my God, it's the guy that killed Shinzo Abe. Holy shit, I don't know what fucking anime this is, but they really fucking predicted it. That looks exactly like the gun that killed Shinzo Abe. What the fuck? That's insane, bro. It's actually the guy, we found him. That's the guy that killed Shinzo Abe. That's nuts. Have sex, Shinzo Abe said. This guy said, what if I hit you with a double barrel fucking gun that looks like it's like a starter weapon out of Fallout 4? Sheesh. Breed Shinzo Abe, actually, dude. Man. If only that fucking propaganda worked on young Americans, because goddamn is the dating scene fucked.
Modernize its arsenals.
Rest in peace, Shinzo Abe. You were not a great person, but at least you pushed people to have sex and were kind of funny.
It was ultimately civil unrest and not European pressure that resulted in a revitalization.
Oh, was it in the upper left corner? Oh, thank you, Fox.
Rest copied its arsenals.
Ninja Scroll. That is the most stereotypical 90s name for a fucking anime I've ever read in my life. Fucking Ninja Scroll.
Japan. The Boshin War, also known as the Japanese Civil War, was fought from 1868 to 1869.
I think Americans are braiding too much, honestly. Crazy.
European and American weapons, which due to never-ending conflict had advanced over Japanese designs. International traders at this time found every faction in Japan willing to pay well for whatever
those hats kind of rock.
They could get their hands on.
I dig them,
including Gatling guns and revolvers. The Meiji Restoration period which followed saw Japan rapidly...
I also just want to say real quick, sorry again to interrupt this video, but I would like to take a moment to just look at how much they look... Like, here, let me move myself a little bit so you guys can see the guy on the right in his boots. Look at how much of a resemblance they bear to American Civil War troops. Like, actually, though. Like, if you changed the nationality of these guys, like, to being white, and you kept the same uniforms, and you said they were Union troops, I'd have to squint for a minute. I'll be honest. It's really interesting to see how similar they are in attire and weaponry to the American Civil War. That is very interesting. I wonder how that happened. Because, like, no, unironically, they definitely took inspiration from European and definitely American powers that were in the region at the time. And I wouldn't be surprised if some American advisor was the beginning of this uniform style. But they really, really do. Not only do they show early signs of Imperial Japanese, attire, but also they really look like Union Civil War troops.
Industrialize.
Yeah, I've
and
seen The
eventually
Last
become a strong
Samurai.
Trading power.
Pretty
Japan invited
ahistorical, but
Western experts
honestly
to
an
help with
interesting
its
movie.
growing industries.
Which is, this is what this is from.
More Western technology was imported, including weapons like the French sash.
I believe The Last Samurai had accurate attire, if I'm not mistaken. I just know that the story and the cultural context were pretty made up. Yeah, it's historically bad, but it's a good video. It's like a good movie to watch. It's entertaining. Yeah, exactly. And they were being trained by Western advisors. It makes sense. Because, that's the whole reason Imperial Japan started in the first place. And it was due to the Meiji Restoration, because they wanted to imitate European powers pre-World War I. They just didn't get the memo after World War I, where it's like, oh, taking colonies isn't cool anymore. And they were just like, all right, well, we're doing it anyway, because you guys did it. It's our turn. So Matthew Perry did make Japan open its borders in 1850, so it was just a couple years before the Civil War. Exactly. Also, goddamn, I didn't know the guy from Friends made Japan open their borders. So sad that he died in that hot tub after all of his achievements. Imagine living 175 years only to tragically die in a hot tub. It's pretty sad, man. It's really sad. Now I'm just thinking of Benny being in 1850s Japan, just being like, ring a ding ding, baby. Here's how you crank this Gatling gun. Bang, 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 bang. He's actually sitting at the end of a Gatling gun with a bunch of samurai charging them. And he's like, truth is, it was rigged from the start. Bang, 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 bang. Ring-a-ding-ding, baby. Samurai heel sound. The drum hits. Oh my God, that'd be great. Is that how 3,000-year-old horror will die? Probably not. At least I hope not, honestly. Only be known in the middest sitcom of the modern age. I disagree. I feel like that's Big Bang Theory. I've heard this fact that a fax machine was invented in time for a samurai to send a fax to Abraham Lincoln, but I don't think that's true. It might be, but no, there's no way. Yeah, no, that's definitely not true. Abraham Lincoln was definitely dead before the fax machine. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln was 100% dead before the fax machine was invented. Not even close. Yeah, it's not even close. Yo, thank you for the follow, Obama Llama. Welcome to the cult. Like the name, how you doing? Yeah, definitely it was probably the Telegram. I think you're thinking of the Telegram. Does Hara pay taxes? No, of course I don't. I'm a religious figure. I'm like Henry Popoff or whatever his name is, except not a bigot, not crazy. Well, I'm crazy, but not in an annoying or shitty way. No. Telegram. Yeah. Abraham Lincoln died right after the Civil War. There's no way that it was a fax machine. But yeah.
Poe rifle, the British Snyder Enfield, and the American Spencer repeating rifle. Japanese officials knew in order not to become a colony, Japan's industry.
Yeah, actually, no. Hold on. No. I think I think Sarnath's right. I'm pretty sure Abraham Lincoln, right before he died, used Starlink to order DoorDash to Ford's Theater. That way he could get himself some Wingstop on the way out from the show of Hamilton. And he got assassinated by Luigi while walking out. Pretty crazy.
Well.
Brendan!
Spring cleaning.
You missed. Lincoln took the first Uber to Ford's Theater. 7 years ago, I took the first Uber to Gettysburg. It's kind of shit. The New York man that drove me was very rude, and he made me pay extra for spilling my brandy on the bottom of his floorboard.
compete with the West. Japan developed its first locally made modern service rifle in 1880, known as the Murata rifle.
Prayer. Lord, please pray for the soul of this bitch and guide my pimp hand and make it strong, Lord, so that she might learn a hole's place. Amen.
Whatever. Shut up.
A single-shot bolt-action rifle. Of course, by this time, the samurai were not
He sure
the ones
did.
using the rifles. The samurai class was abolished in the 1870s.
What is this
Ironically,
movie?
However, the samurai would still be...
G.I. Samurai? Like, this is what I mean, bro. This is exactly what I was talking about. G.I. Samurai. What? Is this just Gate, like, 40 years ahead of its time? What am I looking at?
Leading up to and during World
That is
War
either the most dog shit or the most amazing
Bushido
movie
during the
ever
war became
created.
a propaganda tool that was used to turn soldiers into national
I've never seen Final Countdown.
willing to kill and die for a country.
Holy shit, it's
They
Tojo.
were told they were indebted to. This loyalty was supposed to be akin to a samurai's loyalty to their feudal lords. or
Mad Jack
shoguns.
Churchill, but Japanese. Oh! She hit him with the wrong side of the
I
knife.
want to thank you for watching. If you want to showgun your appreciation for the video,
Interesting. That was a great video. I really like that. That was very informative. I hate that I talked over half of it, but it was very informative. I like that a lot. That was really cool. Really enjoyed that information. All right. Yeah, it also ended with a dad pun, true. All right, let me see if I can find, I think we have time for like 1 or 2 more videos. Let me see here. Okay. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge. I've learned a lot about that one. I don't think I've ever heard of the Algo Center Mall collabs. We read the Daisy Bell one. Trying to see if there's any from like last week we might have missed. We watched the cheese one. Watch the hotel one. Okay, hold on. Ooh, that would be a good one. You know, I said we'd watch an extra history video. We'll watch Hunting the Bismarck. I've already seen this one, but it is a really good video, and I did really like it. So, we'll watch this one. Yo!
May 20th, night.
Welcome in, Raiders! Welcome in, everybody. My name's Hara Rae Sol. I'm an Egyptian Peregrine Sun Goddess, and we're doing our history stream tonight. I do worth a variety of history streams, and tonight's our history stream. Thank you for the raid, Captain Crunch. How was your stream? What are we up to, buddy? But yeah, we're just watching history videos submitted by my chat, and I use my master's degree in history and my minor in museum studies and my job as a curator to offer expertise and opinions and a lot of really funny, probably mildly insensitive historically jokes towards the videos we watch. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your stay. Big ship. Captain Crunch jump scare. I love it. I love it. Playing Midnight Fight Express, which is one of those beat 'em up games that literally kick my ass in a good way. The combat's so good. I'll have to check it out. I've never heard of it. Sounds really interesting. Yeah, I'm here to gaslight, educate my worshippers. Because, let's be honest, how would they be in a good cult and be very obedient if they weren't educated the right way, you know? Please, I recommend it. I got you. I'll definitely check it out then. All right, let's get to this video of extra history of Hunting the
20th,
Bismarck.
1941. A restaurant in Stockholm. A British officer, the naval attaché to neutral Sweden, is having dinner alone.
To school and you're the teacher now? Let's go!
From the embassy. His eyes
I'm way better at my job than your baseball coach, I promise.
Waiting for him at the embassy is a Norwegian colonel, the man Swedish intelligence leaks to when they want information to land in British hands. He has a sighting report from a Swedish cruiser. They relay it to London via encrypted telegram, and it says, At 1500 hours, 2 large warships, escorted by 3 destroyers, 5 ships, and 10 or 12 planes, passed to the northeast.
That's a kind of sizable service fleet.
And the hunt is on. This episode
It's crazy that I've watched so many of their videos. I know the fucking theme song. See you, Anubis. Thanks for hanging out, dude. Hope to see you back on Friday for Uma Musume. Big reminder, we'll be playing Uma Musume on Friday. We're gonna do open racing lobbies if I can get it to work right. I think I can. We'll see on stream. And if we can't, we'll just do bettings all night. But what we're also gonna do is we're just gonna do betting so you can bet your channel points on Chatter's horses. And also you can do it on your own horses if you want, I guess. And also we're gonna do just regular races in career. So it ought to be a lot of fun. We'll be doing that on Friday. Yes, we do have a club. There is a club in Uma Musume. I think you have to follow me or I have to follow you and then send an invite. It should be, I think it's AEHC, I believe, which is Ancient Egyptian Horse Club or something like that. I'll post some info after stream in the Discord in the right channel for you guys.
Is one of the most dramatic events of World War II. It's a story of great ships clashing in frozen waters. A tale of risk-taking.
Oh, is it full? Really? Can we expand it somehow? I didn't realize it was full.
Sometimes changes history. So when Wargaming contacted us again saying...
Oh, interesting, Fire. That does sound interesting.
Bismarck, we jumped on that right away. But what makes the Bismarck story interesting isn't just the ships and the battles. It's the hunt. For the Royal Navy...
Because all I think is boat. No, I totally get that, dude.
It was
honestly, building ships in a shipyard sounds really cool.
An international manhunt.
Hard work, but really cool.
From the icy seas of the Denmark Strait to the chattering computers of Bletchley Park. It will begin with an interrupted dinner and end with the destruction of the largest...
200 points on kids' college fund? Yeah, I think that's what we joked about last time. Some chatter bet like 10K on a horse that was like 8th favored and lost, and I was like, oh, looks like your kid's going to community college. It's like, oh, there goes your kid's college fund. Guess he's going to community college.
21st of May, early morning. A British naval base at Scapa Flow.
I bet. Working in a place like that's got to be a little harrowing.
Fleet is aboard his flagship, thinking that this might finally be it. For days, German reconnaissance planes have passed above him, recording the position of his ships. Scapa Flow is a hard...
They were always going to community college? Yeah, actually.
But it's also strategically crucial real estate. From their base in Scapa, Tovi's fleet guards the watery expanse that stretches between Greenland and Nazi-occupied Norway, and securing that line was the only thing keeping Britain alive. This is a crucial juncture in the war. The previous year, France had collapsed, German forces had occupied Norway and Denmark, and the Italians had entered the war on the side of its fascist ally, Germany. The Axis powers were now...
Oh, nothing's wrong with community college. Get that education any way you can. Especially because they're usually cheaper and you can get your first 2 years and transfer them over. I was just joking about the fact that the person was probably planning on sending their kid in this hypothetical to a nice college, bet their college fund away, and now has to send them to a cheaper community college.
And Britain stood alone.
Because it's all they can afford because of their dumb gambling debt.
Luftwaffe raids pounded its cities. American supply convoys were the only thing keeping Britain in the fight. This was a tonnage war, measured in cargo delivered rather than ships sunk. Convoys raced through U-boat-infested waters to get Fortress Britain enough food, bullets, and oil to defend democracy. Tofi's nightmare was of a single ship, the Bismarck.
I like how it looks like an orca. That paint scheme's really cool.
Launch in 1939 and monitoring her sea travels via air and signals.
Bunky, that is a crazy line. Hara's gonna send us to a Phoenician community college to learn how to fish. Bro, you're gonna learn a lot more than how to fish. Those Phoenicians are weird. You're gonna come back weird, but you know what? It's good. It'll put hair on your chest. So I went straight to trade school for General Dynamics. I mean, that's not a bad idea. Trades are booming.
Intercepts. They still didn't know everything. They didn't know how fast she was, her crew complement, or what new technologies she had, but they did know that she was enormous and advanced, outfitted with both heavy armor and 15-inch guns that could sink near anything the Royal Navy could throw at it. But the British also knew that Bismarck was more than a ship. She was a political statement. Hitler had jump-started Germany's economy with public spending, including a focus on military rearmament. The Bismarck was a visible symbol of Germany's economic miracle, a nation with a 100% employment rate, provided you didn't count the Jews and the women forced out of the workplace.
Oh.
And at over 40,000
So, like,
tons,
50% of the
Bismarck
population.
was also a flagrant violation of post-World War I treaties that limited the size of Germany's naval vessels. This ship celebrated the Nazi success and proclaimed their warlike intentions. This was a new Germany, an economically strong Germany that had military ambition and rejected any attempt to restrain it. But so far, this great ship was still bottled up in the Baltic, operating out of ports in northern Germany and occupied Poland. But if the Bismarck could stage a breakout, slip between Denmark and Norway, and cut north into the Atlantic, it could plunge down into the Atlantic convoys, a knife straight into Britain's supply artery. Previous German raids had proved costly, and those ships had only been a quarter the size of the Bismarck. Tovy's phone rings, a direct line from the Admiralty in London. The call passes on the Swedish Navy's sighting, but now it's corroborated with more information. A Polish source reported that the Bismarck left port 3 days ago, and a Norwegian resistance cell spotted a group of German ships passing between Norway and Denmark. Royal Air Force.
So, I do have a small question. Like, why didn't they just mine? If they knew that it had to come out of that one strait, why didn't they just mine the shit out of it? Like, what? I'm confused. I'm sure there's a context and a good reason why. Like, maybe it got demined. But, like, if you know that it's stuck in the Baltic, and that's the only way it can go out, and you don't really have supplies going through it because it's a hot area, just drop a fuck ton of mines there. Fuck ton of sea mines. It's so fucking big, they're gonna have a hard time getting around them. Well, you have to get boats there to mine it? No, you don't. You can use aircraft. Aircraft at the time could drop naval mines. I don't think you can mine commercial shipping lanes without committing a war crime. That is definitely not true. Considering the entire channel was fucking sea mined, there's no way that's true. Just drain the Baltic. It's simple. I don't get it. Why did the Allies just fill the Baltic with sand? Are they stupid? I don't get it. Why didn't they just fill the ocean with sand? Are they dumb? So how I do it. Why didn't they just boil the ocean until it evaporated away? That's what I do. Be really simple. Bam. Wow, your boat's real useful at a fucking giant fucking cavern at the bottom of what used to be an ocean and is now just a fucking salt flat. Literally that easy. Let's see you move that boat across the world's largest fucking salt flat. Yeah, I would simply play through all of Ruby and use my Master Ball that I achieved from Silphco on Groudon. And then go to the Baltic and unleash him in the Baltic. Yeah. But I'd also catch Kyogre so Kyogre doesn't try to fix it. So yeah. That's all. It's that simple. I'd also have to get all 8 gym badges, and I'd also have to defeat the Elite Four first, and probably to a degree to complete the Pokedex. But it should be fine. I can do it. And all that would do would summon a Sky Dragon that is really pissed off because I've upset the natural balance, and then an evil alien Pokemon that would try to counteract the dragon that is trying to return balance to the world. So, yeah. Probably, it'd be pretty easy. So, yeah.
Are currently scouring the fjords. Tovey issues an order to his fleet, refuel, and stand by to sail. 13:15 hours, in Norway. An RAF pilot cruising the fjords spots and photographs a large ship with a heavy cruiser nearby. Back in Scotland, an analyst confirms the silhouette, while the photos are still damp from the darkroom. It's the Bismarck.
Catch a Magikarp with a Master Ball? No, I'm catching the True God with it, and that is a Bidoof.
Tovey's greatest fear. Worse, the weather is deteriorating, with fog forecast overnight. Bismarck had probably been hiding in the fjords, waiting for just such weather to cover its dash to the Atlantic. Tovey summons his subordinate, Vice Admiral Lancelot Holland, and details his plan. Holland will take his squadron to southern Iceland and hold there, staying in a position to intercept the Bismarck regardless of whether she sails down the east or the west coast of the island. Tovey will stay in Scapa in case the Bismarck tries to use the foul weather to sneak past the north side of Britain. The cruisers currently patrolling the Denmark Strait would stay on course with orders to spot and shadow the Bismarck, then radio its course so Holland can intercept. Holland's squadron slips out at midnight.
Oh, that
22nd
makes
of May
sense.
at
72nd.
0200 hours in Norway. An RAF bombing raid hits the Bismarck's last known position, releasing their payloads blind due to the low clouds. Heavy fog, no sighting. Further reconnaissance flights are futile for the next several hours. 2000 hours in the Scapa flow. Admiral Tovey.
She anchor my Scarpa. No. You're saying it wrong. She navigate my Scarpa till I flow.
Flown low enough to break through the clouds. The Bismarck is gone. Any further reconnaissance flights are grounded due to poor weather. He orders the command to sail for Iceland immediately, hoping to fill any gaps in their screen. In the 30 hours since the last sighting of the Bismarck, the German raiders could have sailed 600 miles toward the Atlantic access points around Iceland. As Tovey leaves port, he radios Holland to say that Bismarck is heading his way, and that the fleet must maintain radio silence.
It just feels like a very complicated game of Snake.
It must not slip.
You know what I mean? They're just trying to box in this one ship.
22 hours. The Denmark Strait. Two sister cruisers have been searching the icy, mine-filled waters of the Denmark Strait for 50 hours.
Told
ever since
you!
The Bismarck was last spotted when a lookout sees two ships emerge from a snowstorm. He thinks they're British at first, but a second glance sends him scrambling. It's a German battleship, and only 7 miles away, well within the killing range of its 15-inch guns.
Yo! Welcome in, Raiders! Welcome in, everybody. My name's Hara Rae Sol, an Egyptian peregrine sun goddess. I do worth a variety in history streams. Tonight's our history stream. Thank you for the raid, Artie. Please go check out Artie. She's super cute and super fun. She's really neat. She's the best destroyer ever. And she's a really good friend of mine. So make sure you guys go check her out and support her and what she does, because she's a lot of fun. And I just accidentally reversed all the video.
When a lookout sees two ships emerge from a snowstorm, he thinks they're British at first, but a second glance sends him scrambling.
What were you doing, Artie?
It's a German battleship, and only 7 miles away, well within the killing range of its 15-inch guns. Action station sound. The officers below abandon their pre-dinner sherry. Running feet pound.
Not the pre-dinner sherry!
Hard over and makes for the fog. Its 8-inch guns useless against the steel behemoth. For 3 agonizing minutes, the crew waits for incoming shells as their little ship...
See you, Juan. Hope to see you back on Friday for the Uma Musume betting night.
Herself, the cruiser stalks its quarry through the fog and the rain.
I'm have to save up all of my stuff so I can roll for you guys too. So I can gamba.
These cruisers may not have heavy guns, but they're outfitted with advanced systems that allow them to track enemy ships solely by radar.
Yo, Repo! Awesome. I hope you had fun.
Radios its sighting reports to her sister ship 15 miles south, who relays it to the rest of the fleet and rushes to join the pursuit. An hour passes. 30 hours. The Denmark Strait. Over-eager and heading at speed, the second cruiser plunges through a fog bank to find itself near...
I'm over-eager and heading at speed to plunge through your mother's fog bank. You know, I'm not even gonna try to act like I'm mature, let's be honest. We're watching a video on hunting the Bismarck, and I found a way to get in a really crude sex joke with someone's mother.
Head on with the Bismarck, 6 miles away and closing at 30 knots. Her captain orders the helm hard to starboard and deploys a smokescreen, looking for the mist. This time,
I was heading hard to starboard at 30 knots and then deployed my smokescreen.
Mark is quick.
Hara, yes!
A salvo of 15-inch shells lands behind
Hara, yes!
rattling it with metal splinters.
Chad knows now that when the video pauses, the belt's coming out. Oh yeah, baby. Line up!
Well within the killing range of its 15-inch guns. Action station sound. The officers below abandon their pre-dinner sherry. Running feet pound the deck. The cruiser turns hard over and makes for the fog. Its 8-inch guns useless against the steel behemoth. For 3 agonizing minutes, the crew waits for incoming shells as their little ship slowly takes cover in the mist. The Bismarck's shells never arrive. Reorienting herself, the cruiser stalks its quarry through the fog and the rain.
I was a marine
deploying
pipe
its most
fitter, meaning
effective
yes, I
weapon,
indeed
a sensor ray.
pipe
These
ships.
cruisers
That's
may not
crazy.
have heavy guns,
It's a really
but
cool
they're
sounding job,
outfitted
though.
with advanced systems that allow them to track enemy ships solely by radar, a feat never achieved before. The cruiser radios its sighting report to her sister ship 15 miles south, who relays it to the rest of the fleet and rushes to join the pursuit. An hour passes. 20-30 hours, the Denmark Strait. Overeager and heading at speed, the second cruiser plunges through a fog bank to find itself nearly head-on with the Bismarck, 6 miles away and closing at
Sheesh.
30 knots. Her captain orders the helm hard to starboard and deploys a smokescreen, braking for the mist. This time, the Bismarck is quick on the draw. A salvo of 15-inch shells lands behind the vessel's stern.
It's in the
grabbing
server
it with metal
memes? Okay,
splinters.
I'll show it in a
Another
minute.
shell lands 50
That's
yards short
great.
and skips like a stone over the bridge. But the cruiser escapes, shrouded in mist. The twin cruisers, a little wiser and a bit more careful, fall in behind the Bismarck and the Prinz Eugen, staying out of sight but within the 10-mile
So,
range.
this
of
is
their
something I want to ask. It's not really going to get focused on this video, but it does later on because I watched the whole series of this. Did the Bismarck have, like, modern, like, targeting apparatuses? Because, like, during this conflict, the entire time they're chasing the Bismarck and the amount of hits that the Bismarck scores and how frequently they do it, it's actually kind of crazy. Because, like, British ships, there were a couple British ships at the time that had targeting computers, like really basic ones, I'm pretty sure, during this time period. But they were kind of meh. But, like, it's noted in one of these videos that that's what gave, like, one of them the edge over the Bismarck, was because of that. But, yeah. Oh, it broke during its first salvo with the duel with Hood and Wales. Oh, okay. Interesting. That's really interesting. Okay, that makes a lot of sense then. I didn't know that.
radar arrays, quietly
I
broadcast-
really thought, for some reason, I thought the Iowa, or like the Iowa class was like the whole, like, one of its big claims to fame was that it was the first one to have like an actual targeting computer. But maybe I misremembered.
Bismarck's position to the fleet. 2100 hours. The interception fleet at Denmark Strait. Admiral Holland's battlecruiser force plunges towards. the
See,
Bismarck.
Minerva says
There are
no.
rough
I'm
seas
interested
and
now. I'm gonna have to look that up
snow flurries in the
later.
strait, with waves so high that their destroyer escorts are getting submerged and have to pull back. Destroyers will do little.
Modern
good
for the
in
1930s?
battle.
Okay.
This
I
will
guess I
be
meant
a
top of the
2-on-2
line is what I
battle of
meant.
Capital ships. At his disposal, he
For
has
their
the newest
period.
ship in the British fleet, the Prince of Wales, and his flagship, the pride of the Royal Navy, the HMS Hood. The Hood has been called the most beautiful ship afloat. Between the wars,
Okay, hold on. Oh. Hold on. I need a bigger photo. All of these suck. I mean, it's just a painting, but... I mean, it's alright, I guess. It's okay, I guess. Oh, it's in War Thunder. I mean, I don't know if I'd say it's the most beautiful ship I've ever seen. It's neat. Enhancing. I mean, it's like, it looks not bad. I'm not gonna say it looks like the most beautiful ship I've ever seen. Hold on. I have to type in safe for work because I don't want fucking titties out on my fucking screen on Twitch. Holy shit, you're telling me that this design is an absolute gooner slop and it's actually pretty good? Market me surprised. I actually really like the design. That looks really neat. It's pretty neat looking. I like it. Dang it. Yeah, see, that was your goal. You were expecting her. I mean, look, I can't act like I wasn't either, but I really was expecting her to have like F-cup milkers with like a cup of tea with like milk spilling into the tea, and she's wearing like a fucking like mini skirt It's got like a Union Jack on it, and it has a fucking opening in the front for like her fucking dental floss that barely covers her cooch. Like, sorry, I expected that. But she must have been from the Azure Lane before they really bought into it.
Sun Tzu said that.
He sure fucking did. All I can think about now is like Sun Tzu looking at like the Zheng He treasure fleet and being like, oh yes. Like 300 years from now, they're gonna make the goonerest, big tittiest ship on Azure Lane out of you. It's definitely way more than 300 years, but you get my point. Actually, I don't know. When was Zheng He's treasure fleet? I feel like it was the 1400s. Well, I said 300s. I was right. It was the 1400s.
Ditch the Pizza Planet. Damn right, dude. Get her the meat lovers.
Yeah. I actually knew it was the 1400s. I just said 300 years like an idiot. But yeah, 700 years ago. But yeah, you get my point. Ow. Rude. Also, thank you for the follow, RV. Welcome to the cult. Hope you enjoy your stay. All right, back to the video. I mean, she's pretty. I'm not gonna sit there and be like the prettiest ship I've ever seen, though.
The globe
like,
as a symbol of British invincibility. She's the star of fleet reviews and
yeah, that's why I originally started playing Azure Lane when it originally came out, and I was like, wow, these designs are really good. They're kind of tasteful. They've got like the original Azure Lane. It was like, all right, they're very tasteful, but they do have a little bit of like a little bit of, you know, the oomph. Like for example, like. I think the Bismarck, like, was about there where it's, like, it's a little slutty, but, like, it's just enough to be tasteful. You know what I mean? And nowadays, it's, like, fucking, like, cow udders and flab monsters. Like, just absolute spilling out of every single article of clothing they wear. And it's like, all right, bro. Where are you guys getting all this fucking baby oil? It's wartime. There are rations. I don't understand where you guys are finding all the baby oil supplies. This is insane.
Is the beloved, the unsinkable, the mighty Hood, and she is steaming towards destruction. Join us next
That
time
would be the
for a
Belfast, of course.
A wounded giant,
all
and
right.
a 3-word order that will echo throughout naval history.
All right, well, I've already watched this video, so sorry for not giving a ton of context on it, but it is very interesting. Please watch the rest of the series. I think there's like 5 episodes. It is very interesting. I don't have a lot to commentate on it, but I think it's a great video. I love me some extra history. I still don't like the early voice. It's very obviously just run through like a pitch program. Not a fan. But you always love the animation. Their narration's pretty good outside of the sound. So yeah, I would recommend Extra History. Check them out. Okay, so we're gonna call it there. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I hope you guys had fun at another history night. I loved having you guys. Again, I still think this is the funniest stream that I do. So make sure to come back and get here early so you don't miss out next time. If you are here and if you enjoyed your time, I would love to see you back on Friday for Uma Musume horse betting. That's another reason to come and watch streams so you can save up your channel points for bets. Win a lot of channel points. Throw shit at me. It'll be fun. All right. So we're going to find somebody to raid out to real quick. Let me find someone real quick. Let's see here. And I will see you guys on Friday. Let's see. Let me see here. I might raid. Yeah. We're going to raid Issa. I don't think I've ever rated Issa before, but Issa's really fucking cool. She, unironically, when I say this, I don't mean this unironically. Issa might unironically be the best VTuber singer literally on the internet. Like, oh my god, I can't stop listening to fucking Cilantro. It's so fucking good. She's really rad. I would really love to talk to her one day. Maybe someday. But we're gonna raid her. She's playing GTA 5, the campaign story, so it should be a lot of fucking fun. In fact, there's titties out on her stream right now. That's pretty fucking crazy. So I will see you guys on Friday at 7 p.m. CST for Uma Musume. Make sure you're there for the bets, all right? If you want to catch me until then, I'm on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Discord. You can find the links by typing ! And then the social media site. All right, so I'll see you guys later. Bye, friends. Bye-bye.